Hi, hello, and welcome to the library. My name is Miyabi Mitsuhara, and I'll be your host today. I think you can hear me, you can hear us. I am accompanied today by my loyal partner, best
Oh, yeah.
friend, companion, BertKnot. BertKnot, how are you doing
I'm
today?
doing okay. I'm doing okay. This is the first episode we're recording in English. We're
Yes,
live
it
streaming
is.
in English,
We
to
are
be fair.
live streaming.
Live
Like,
streaming. Yeah.
so very eager to be here, but also very nervous because nothing is ready, obviously. You know, oh,
It is never ready, to be fair.
this feels like a take-on piece on the
Yeah.
war criminal named BertKnot. Hopefully not. Hopefully you don't have like anything, bad to kind of like tell us on stream. I hope you need to control
No,
yourself.
no, nothing. No cautionary
No,
tales today.
caution, not
No
today, not
cautionary
today.
tales. Not
Um,
today.
Okay, so this is like a continuation of what we did in other places on the internet in French.
Huh?
And I figured that like it would be a good thing to, oh my God, chat is so silly. That would be a good thing to continue in English and on this channel because I think it fits the idea of the library.
Right.
So the kind of like Zelda marathon podcast that we have been doing for 5 years.
Already, right.
Actually.
This is the 5-year anniversary, technically. I mean, not today specifically, but that year.
Yeah. So can you tell us like before we begin with the podcast like proper? Can you tell us like a little bit about this project in general and what we did?
Yeah. So basically, what we've been doing for the last 5 years was to chronicle every Zelda game and questioning every time what makes a Zelda game, basically. Like, because Zelda is one of the most, let's be real, like, it's constantly changing, it's constantly evolving. So we were questioning that, yeah, but how do we know that this game, which is so different from the games prior, which is going to be so different from the games coming after, is technically and rightfully so a Zelda game? So we've been questioning what in terms of meaning, what in terms of themes, what in terms of structures, designs, what makes this game a Zelda game, a proper Zelda game, in spite of being different out of all the other games that came prior or will come after. So this is what we've been doing. It's basically a chronicling every Zelda game up to this point, and we've reached the point of Skyward Sword already. Wow, it feels like we've started yesterday and we're already up to Skyward Sword.
But 5 years. It has been like 5 years. I mean,
It's been 5 years. Yeah, I know. It's been 5
there has
years.
been like a lot of issues along the way, hiatus, like
I mean,
breaks, but
this one is a bit special compared to the others, to be fair, because technically we played Skyward Sword.
a year
Like
ago.
usually when we do, here's the thing: when we record these podcasts, is like we play the game and then a month or two maximum, then we do the recording. Sometimes, like we did in the past, what we did is like, oh, we finished the game and then 2 days later we recorded the podcast. But more often than not, it was like a month or two later.
Yeah.
In that case, it's been like more than a year.
It has been more than a year because I remember the previous episode was on the Zelda DS games,
It was,
and
yeah,
you actually finished like Spirit Tracks while being at my place. So this was like very very funny, and we recorded the podcast just after.
Yeah, and I remember finishing Skyward Sword like end of August 2024.
Yeah, because this was also the release of like Emio, and I know that like I did Emio in between Skyward Sword because I wanted to do Emio first.
I finished Skyward Sword before Emio.
Yes.
That's right. Emio, the Smiley Man, the third entry into the Famicom Detective Club series.
Yes. But like it has been a year, and
right.
I actually had like to rewatch like before we started speaking about it. I actually had to rewatch my playthrough because I recorded it, and I watched it like on ×8 speed. Like yesterday, I went to bed at like 5 a.m. to be able like to watch everything, because I couldn't remember like most of like the game actually.
I didn't do any of this, but I remember the game well. To be fair,
you have like a stronger memory than I do, unfortunately, when it comes to those things. And also like to kind of like answer quickly, like I know this is a meme question, but like, can a Zelda game not be a Zelda game? I think that it's kind of like one of the interesting like questions that we have like
Yeah.
in the podcast, because my answer would be yes, yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Too good at marketing the stream, BertKnot. I mean, you are that's why BertKnot is, my loyal partner.
I'm the marketing guy,
The
basically.
marketing
I'm the
guy.
marketing guy.
He brings the charisma into this stream.
Oh, come on.
Okay, so
That's not true. Yeah.
let's
So
ease.
what?
Yeah. Go on, go on, go on, go on.
Yeah, what I was going to say is that usually the way we start is that before deep diving into the game, we start with technical presentation of it. And in the case of Skyward Sword, this is interesting because we've been questioning every time we've been episode, how do you play the game legally, right?
Yes.
Every time. And for some games, it's very complicated. For Wind Waker, prior to the release of Nintendo Switch 2, it was basically impossible to play the game legally, right? Unless you have a Wii U, which you do not, let's be real. In the case of Skyward Sword, it's probably the easiest game to get access to when it comes to old games, because of course it's easy to get access to Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, but those games are fairly new. Skyward Sword is an old game. It got released in November 2011 on the Nintendo Wii. It got released in Europe first, funnily enough, because it was on November 18, 2011, and then 2 days later in America, 5 days later in Japan, Australia, and then South Korea. Okay. But then it got re-released on the Nintendo Wii U through the eShop September 1st, 2016. And then the version we played together is the Nintendo Switch version, the Skyward Sword HD game, developed by Tantalus, the Australian studio which already worked on Twilight Princess HD. It got released on July 16, 2021, if I'm not mistaken. So interesting, right? It's easy to access now. It's super pricey because I think the remaster, the pricing at the time was 60 euros or $60, 60 bucks or 60 quid, depending on where you live, which at the time was considered pricey. But now with the Nintendo Switch 2, we're used to pricing being like 80 quid or 80 bucks. So 60 is like pretty cheap nowadays, which shows how let's just say the economic trends shifted, but not on the good side. Definitely. So it's easy to access, right? And I think most people played the game on the Nintendo Switch because it sold more copies on the Nintendo Switch than it did on the Wii U. On the Wii, sorry. Wii U, we don't have the numbers. I'm going to explain the numbers later, but just to say that this is the first game directed by Hidemaru Fujibayashi as a Nintendo employee. Because Fujibayashi worked on the Oracle games and Minish Cap under Capcom.
Yes.
Then joined Nintendo and directed Skyward Sword. So this is not the first Zelda game being directed by Fujibayashi, but this is the first Nintendo game as a Nintendo employee directed by Fujibayashi.
And this is very important because we'll talk about more about Fujibayashi afterwards. But we need to like if you have played like the recent Zelda games on Switch, those games are by at least they bear a little bit more of his mark.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that later, about the connection between Skyward Sword and Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh yeah.
Because
I mean, that was the reason why it got released on the Nintendo Switch. It was basically like a little like dish before the main one. Like, it was like, oh, we are releasing Skyward Sword because we use Skyward Sword as a base work, as the framework for Tears of the Kingdom. This is how they justified the existence of Skyward Sword HD back in the Nintendo Direct for February 2021, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
So this is like very important. Also, an important thread of the podcast is that like the games are connected, not by like story or whatever, but mostly about like the people making them, because it's such a historical team. New people are coming, obviously, like often, but you see like key figures that are basically here, since the beginning. And I think it's very important to highlight continuities within like the entire series. And speaking of continuities, this puts Skyward Sword in a very interesting place, right? In terms of like when it was released, because it was an anniversary game. Can you tell us a bit more about it?
It was, absolutely. So the whole marketing for Skyward Sword back in the days was that, it's not just the Zelda game on the Wii, because Twilight Princess was released on the Nintendo GameCube and on Nintendo Wii at the same time. Some people were like, oh, it's more of a send-off for the Nintendo GameCube, but a proper Wii game, or proper Wii Zelda title. So basically Skyward Sword was marketed at that, but it was not just the Zelda game for the Nintendo Wii. It was also like, oh, that's the game for the Legend of Zelda 25th anniversary, celebrating the whole franchise. So Skyward Sword had a big mission on its shoulders, right? A big burden, so to speak, is that it had to connect the ties with every Zelda game prior. And the decision of Nintendo was to make Skyward Sword the first game in the Zelda timeline. Because this is what made Skyward Sword special, is that, oh, now there is a timeline. Because when I was young, basically at the beginning of the 2000s, there was this dream, right? This idea that every Zelda game is connected and we have to make a timeline. Even though Nintendo always said, no, there are connections between certain Zelda titles, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, the Wind Waker, and the DS titles, but otherwise it's just the same tale being retold multiple times under different perspective or different themes. And then Skyward Sword comes into the foray, right? In changing the swing of things. Now every title is connected. Now we are marketing the idea that The Legend of Zelda is definitely like, there is an order to play the game and to see those stories. And Skyward Sword is the first one in the chronology, the official one. Which was a marketing ploy, clearly, because Nintendo could not care less about the timeline, this idea of a chronology. Because for Breath of the Wild and then to the Kingdom, like, oh, we don't know where to place Breath of the Wild, so I suppose it's at the end.
And you do remember also that, like, speaking of like shaping this chronology, you also have the release of the Hero Historia, the big book that was meant to be, the celebration for the series, and you have like the very famous timeline split in three, branches.
Absolutely. And what is interesting is that this is why I use the term ploy, because Twilight Princess released in 2006, right? I was going to say 2016, but 2016 is the release date for the HD remaster.
Yes.
In 2006, right? It was technically the 20th anniversary of the Zelda franchise as well. And we didn't do anything about it. Like nothing. But that's because Twilight Princess was not only a beloved title, but expectations were high. Which wasn't the case for Skyward Sword.
And I think also because
when it got revealed, it was met with disappointments.
Because what people wanted, like, we already know that Twilight Princess, we talked about that in our episode in French.
Yeah.
Twilight Princess is a game that was made to cater to people's expectations. People had the Wii. I mean, we were at the tail end of the GameCube and then the Wii.
We were, yeah.
And you wanted to do like a dark game. This was like the 2000s. This is like this spirit of I don't know, just more serious.
It was in the mode of this aesthetics. Everything was darker. Everything was a bit emo. I mean, it was the beginning of the PS3 and the Xbox 360 also. So you have this.
Exactly.
Everything is dark. Everything is grey. No colors.
And people like that.
People like that. Absolutely. We love Linkin Park.
We love Linkin Park.
And non-ironically, right? We love Linkin Park non-ironically.
Yes. And then you have like a game that is kind of like shifting to, a previous aesthetics. It's not exactly Wind Waker, but still it's kind of like a little bit reminiscent in the colors.
Yes.
And obviously people did not like that because they loved Twilight Princess.
And I told you that at the beginning that technically the Switch remastered sold more copies than the original game. And it's not just the Switch effect. It's just that people were not super excited about this game. It sold, roughly speaking, 3.7 million copies, which is not too bad. But if you compare to Phantom Hourglass or Twilight Princess, it's nothing. Twilight Princess sold 8 million copies, right? Both on the GameCube and the Wii. Phantom Hourglass sold 5 million copies, roughly speaking, right? And upon release, this game was counted as some of the Zelda games which did not flop, but were not considered a big success by Nintendo. The Nintendo Switch Remastered sold 4.15 million copies, which is big for a remaster, right? And it was, if you go on websites like Backlog, if you check what people writing about Skyward Sword, the HD remaster was basically their first introduction to this game.
Yes.
So lots of new players got attracted to Skyward Sword through the Nintendo Switch version.
And because
obviously.
it was non-trivial, I think, to play the game back then. I remember that I did.
I did as well, yeah, but not upon release.
Not upon release, and also because
that was my first time as a Zelda player since I was young. Like, oh, you know what? I'm not super excited for this one. I'm going to wait a little.
And you needed to buy like the remote plus thingy.
Wii Motion Plus, the Wii Motion Plus.
So if you didn't have a Wii or you don't remember what it was, you needed like a little thingy that you could like clip onto your Wii remote, controller, your Wiimote, and it would give like your controller more accuracy when tracking your movement. And because this game is really meant for like motion control, for basically everything, you needed to have like this little thing in addition to make it work. And I think people that had the Remote Plus also used to play like the Wii Sports Resort. Everybody had Wii Sports because it was like given with the Wii. But not a lot of people, or at least like, I don't have the numbers, but like less people played Resort because it came afterwards and you kind of like, it was better to have the Remote Plus.
If I'm not mistaken, the Wii Sport Resort sold in the 10 million digits,
which is obviously like nothing when you compare to the original Wii Sports. And so Skyward Sword was like, oh, it's fun to have like a better motion control thingy. So let's do a game around that. And it comes
My
with
mistake. My mistake. Wii Sport Resort sold 33 million copies.
33 million?
Which is nothing compared to Wii Sports.
Yeah, but still,
which is 83, but still, that's super impressive.
That's
it sold more copies than New Super Mario Bros. Wii.
This is crazy.
This is crazy. Wow. Okay.
The dogfighting game in Wii Sport Resort was crazy, but I do agree that like, I mean, Resort I think is less iconic.
It is.
It's not like a bad concept, and to some extent, I think like Skyward Sword is in the same position. It's like, I do understand what you wanted to do with making a game with like such a sharp emphasis on one gimmick, which is like the motion control, but it's like a bit dangerous, right? If it doesn't go very well, then you will have trouble with it. And that's kind of like what people said back in the days, right? Is that the motion control is just not here yet to do those kind of things. I remember that like the sword fighting and just even like movements in general, that was not like perfect, and that was like a little bit frustrating when you played on Wii.
I mean, that's the thing again with the idea of producing, directing a Zelda game tailor-made for the Nintendo Wii. Again, back at the beginning, when the Wii released, right, beginning of the year 2006, there was excitement because of motion control, right? I mean, we had the PS2, which was a big revolution in terms of graphics, same thing for the GameCube. But roughly speaking, it was just like the next logical thing after the N64 and PS1, right? Better fidelity, better graphics, but ultimately, Final Fantasy X is the logical evolution for now Final Fantasy VII. So what are we going to do next for gaming, right, in terms of how to approach gaming? And so motion control was something always dreamed of alongside 3D. And so there was big excitement for motion control. Then Twilight Princess releases, and outside of minigame collections like Mario Party 8, Rayman Raving Rabbits, or WarioWare Smooth Smooth, and other games like this, well, it was very disappointing, let's just say. It wasn't super exciting. And the problem is that Skyward Sword on motion control is very interesting. It's really addressing the problem with Twilight Princess, which was very basic, because again, it was a GameCube game. And it's also like everything is about motion control. The whole game is about motion control. The puzzles are about motion controls. But it was 2011. People were tired of motion controls.
Yeah.
Like, let's just say that the trend definitely evaporated.
I think like if the game released at the beginning of the Wii cycle,
it
would have worked way more.
It would have way better. No doubt. I mean, that's why people remember fondly Red Steel, even though this is technically Red Steel, not so much of a good game. I'm not talking about the second game, which apparently is very interesting. I've not played it. But the first game, it's not good. But because of its motion control approach, people back in the day were like, it's not perfect, but at the very least, it's trying something new. And if Skyward Sword released in 2006, no doubt that the reputation today would be vastly different. But 2011, people were super tired of the Wii and were already looking for the future of Nintendo. So, which is why, they didn't play so much on motion control in marketing. They really played in the fact that this is the first game in the Zelda timeline. This is an anniversary game. You should be excited. You should get excited. Also, we use an orchestra for this game. So music is going to be excellent, and so on and so forth. But not so much on motion control.
Yeah.
Because there was I think it was the 2010 the E3 presentation, if I'm not mistaken, where they basically showed the game, right? How you are controlling the game. And because of technological problems, it didn't go well. Like the game did not respond well, which was,
yes.
I mean, they did their best to say, no, but it's a technical problem. But from the perspective of the public, yeah, but it's not working, right? It's not working. And also the game got revealed, and we are going to talk about this obviously, but the artwork that promoted the game initially was in the art style of Twilight Princess.
Yes.
And then, no, it's a different art style. As you mentioned, it's a bit cartoonish, not Wind Waker, but it's in that mold.
It feels very Western.
Inspired by Paul Cézanne, but we wanted something a bit more realistic.
I think like I really felt that when I was rewatching the playthrough. It's like, oh, it looks to some extent like Fable. It looks like a Western RPG. But it's a Zelda game, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it was obviously a bit grating for people back then. And I think it like kind of like cements this idea that it's a transitional game, a recapitulation or something new. We don't exactly know what.
In a transitional era. Like there was really a change of pace towards gaming, because the PS3, the Xbox 360, and the Nintendo Wii to a lesser extent, it was like, oh, Japanese games, it's over. But strong racism against Japanese developers or Japanese games and Japanese products in general. It was all about American products, and we had to have greater fidelity, realistic approach. And then comes Skyward Sword, which is, it's based upon Impressionism in terms of artistic design.
Yes.
I mentioned Paul Cézanne, it's clearly in that mold. But people didn't want that. They wanted like a real-life Zelda game akin to...
I mean, they wanted Twilight Princess 2.
They wanted Twilight Princess 2, but even more than that, right? Because as we discussed in the podcast, in the episode on Twilight Princess, it's still very cartoonish. Like very silly game. Very silly game.
I mean, it was like the... when was it? That was for the presentation of like a tentative Zelda game. Breath of the Wild, no. I think you had like this gameplay that was extremely... You had like a sort of like fight against like... I don't remember. Was it again like Goma or something like this?
Yeah.
And you had like crazy light work and shadow, very
Oh yeah.
dark room and stuff. And people were like, okay, this is the next direction of the Zelda. This is very
Yes.
dark
Yes.
again. And no, obviously not, because Breath of the Wild was, what Breath of the Wild
I mean,
was.
what they did for the Wii U, the technological demo.
Yes, exactly.
What they did was like Twilight Princess, but in HD, and Link was basically fighting a realistic Goma, so big
Yes.
spider. And okay, so we're going into that direction. No,
not at all.
No.
And it was obviously
No.
the same thing with like Skyward Sword. And also one thing we should mention is that like you said that like Fujibayashi was introduced as like the director,
Yes.
as a Nintendo employee, as a director for the game, but it was also the case for like many people in this
True.
dev team, because we have like an entirely new generation of people that grew up with Zelda games as players, but it was their first time working on a big
Yes.
game like Skyward Sword, and some of them were also like co-opted from Wind Waker. So we have like this transition where the old figures, like obviously Miyamoto is not here for years already.
No.
I can't remember when he left. I think he gave some advice on Wind Waker, but well, he's basically just not here.
He gave some advice on Twilight Princess. He was part of the marketing also. I mean, not supervising the marketing strategy, but he was there, right? I mean, he was the one announcing that there was Twilight Princess, like the big video everyone remembers about Twilight Princess at the E3, 2004. I think 2004. Yeah, he was there, right? It was Miyamoto. We were marketing Miyamoto, but Miyamoto had very little to do in the development of Twilight Princess. It's even more so in Skyward Sword. He is listed in the credits. Yes, he is. He's still producer.
I mean, he always gives like two advice, and then he goes back to his room.
And also for the Iwata Ask, he was there alongside Aonuma talking about the game.
But it was again like a transitional period where you had like a lot of like young people coming and bringing like new ideas to the table, and I think this makes like a good transition towards like the first part of well, we are finishing the introduction, but like the first part of like this podcast, which I really want to talk about, like how this new generation of people really allowed the game to be that dense. If you read like the Water Asks about Skyward Sword, you see that like all the chapters are called like the dense forest, the dense desert, the dense volcano, whatever. And there is this idea of like density, of like putting a lot of ideas, and I think it stems from all those new people being allowed to basically, propose things, and it's like, just put them in the game. So can you maybe, before we kind of like talk about Skyward Sword more, can you tell us for example about like Minish Cap and how we already had like this design of like very a lot of things happening in the game, like you always have like activities to do around you, and there's like no time for contemplation almost.
No time for contemplation. I mean, I think the beginning of the game is telling of that. It's basically one-to-one Chrono Trigger. So Chrono Trigger, the JRPG on the SNES, starts with a festival. That's the same thing for Minish Cap. So I think the way the game starts, Minish Cap, is like, oh, you've got a set of activities you can do at the beginning in Hyrule, right, in the main town of this land. And like, you got many things, festival, you don't have the time for contemplation, everything is ecstatic, it's great. And then in Minish Cap, the map is actually very short, but it's jam-packed with content. It's a game that doesn't have many dungeons, only 4 or 5 if you technically count Hyrule Castle, but you've got so many, like the way to traverse the world, many dungeons here and there, many puzzles. Basically, the overworld is just connecting the world together. It's also a puzzle and a dungeon in and of itself. And so you don't really have the time for contemplation because everything is a puzzle of its own, right? Everything is an obstacle of its own. There's no contemplation. Every screen, every panel was made on purpose, right? It's basically the Mario philosophy. If it's there, there's a reason as to why this is there. Whereas in some other games, like, let's say, Majora's Mask or Ocarina of Time, the main of the world, it was like, yeah, there's not much to do. It's connecting the world together, but it's also like for contemplation. You see the world dying little by little. That's not the case in Minish Cap. It's a sprawling world. Skyward Sword is a bit different in the way to think the world. It's also dying in a way. It's also a game of renaissance. Yes. But still, every world, like, because it works like a Mario game, every sub-world is basically like you've got an obstacle to overcome. Think outside the box, okay? This is already preparing you for the dungeon. You've got puzzles to solve. So you've got this philosophy in Skyward Sword as well. It was there in Minish Cap. Every puzzle, every world has its own gimmick. And so you have to use the objects to traverse the world, and it's a puzzle. And I think like they took this idea in Skyward Sword to the whole next level.
Yes, I think it's like very interesting how we'll talk a little bit more about like the story in just a bit, but you have this very insular way of like shaping the world, because we take back the idea of like, let's say, Wind Waker or the Zelda games on the DS, and this is not an open world, right? This is like a succession of like closed areas where you are doing like puzzles to like progress until you get into the dungeon.
I mean, again, I think with Twilight Princess, the team realized that, we've got this world that is so big, right? We perfectly made Ocarina of Time +2 in a way. So we needed something a bit more confined, a bit more linear. And again, you have to consider that Skyward Sword was released at the end of the PS3, Xbox 360, Nintendo Wii generation. Nowadays, everything is open world. That was not the case back in the days. Everything was super linear. It was the generation of Uncharted. It was the generation of The Last of Us. Basically, every level was like a straight line with things to do.
Exactly.
Right? You had point A to point B, but if you wanted, you had point A, point 1, point A, point 2. You had little side activities, but the progression was a straight line. Skyward Sword is the same. It's very linear, right? You don't have the time to explore.
Because it's about
exploration is considered a puzzle. Yeah, sorry.
It's about like set pieces. You are not here to like roam around. You are here to go from one set piece to another, and the way like the puzzles are crafted in this game, again, you feel, and I think it's not necessarily a problem, but you know that like you're on a very fixed train, and you cannot really like go outside of like the rail tracks. And
well,
the amount of like things you have to do in every world, I think it's enough to kind of like make the illusion that like, you have choices, micro choices to do, but like when you watch like what you do like for 1 hour and a half, it's like, oh yeah, I was going from like the beginning of the area to like the dungeon, and it was like very linear. There was no emergent gameplay thingy to do to kind of like try to take shortcuts and stuff.
No, and that's because, again, since this is a puzzle, usually you've got one solution to the puzzle. It's like with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I know some people were like, yeah, I've been a bit disappointing in the puzzles because you've got so many possible solutions, but I don't think any solution really matters, right? Or it's not like, I feel clever, but I don't feel the solution I'm looking for is clever. That's because there is no proper solution to a problem. In the case of Skyward Sword, there is only one solution possible. One way to go through that problem. Because the whole game is a huge puzzle. It's a huge dungeon. So, which is why it's interesting, because the way the dungeons are considered in Skyward Sword, they're not so much different from what you did in the overworld. It's just like, it's a new section, it's a new part of the overworld, but it's still like the next logical step, which is very different from Ocarina of Time, or Majora's Mask, or Link's Awakening, like all the Zelda games prior to Skyward Sword, because like it was like social quests, social puzzles, and then the real brain teasers.
Yes.
Everything is a brain teaser here.
Yeah, and I think like it's a good moment to kind of like talk a little bit about the story, to just like help people kind of situate like what we are talking about. So the story in Skyward Sword, I think, is you say that it was the first game in the chronology, was meant to be the first game. And you wake up, obviously, as Link, as always, because Zelda is asking for you. And this is the first game, and we'll talk about that later, where you have like this childhood friends dynamic between like Zelda and Link. Well, to that degree, at the very least.
This is definitely the most involved script-wise Zelda has ever been.
Yes, there is a reason for that, and it's mostly because you had like a lot of women in the writing staff, and they wanted to write something a bit more interesting. So you are wake up for like a ceremony. We'll talk about like the introduction like of the game a bit later, but basically you do your ceremony and then you fly with Zelda on your mount, and she gets like caught by a tornado and sent on the surface, because we are living in Skyloft, so an island in the sky, and she is getting thrown to the surface of the world. And your goal is to kind of like just save her and see, you know, where she is. And you go from areas to areas. So you have like 3 main zones that are kind of like getting reimagined, let's say, over the course of the game. And you are basically on the tail of Zelda, and fighting like the antagonist Giraim at the same time. The actual like things that are happening like in the middle part of the game is not very interesting to talk about here, but
it's your basically MacGuffin thing.
Yeah.
Oh, for you to become a true hero, for you to save the world, you have to go through these trials.
Exactly,
right?
and you need to awaken your sword.
Where you have to awaken,
So then you meet Zelda again, and you manage to defeat like the antagonist, and that's basically it. So this is a very, very, you know, easy story to summarize. Just go through your trials and try to find where Zelda is.
It's basically your typical Zelda fare, right? It's in the detail and how more involved characters are in the cutscenes, most notably that it is different.
Yes, and well, the progression is mostly, you go to zone A, you learn that Zelda was doing this and that she went to zone B, so you go to zone B, and you do the exploration in the dungeon, and it's like, she's in zone C, and so on and so on and so on. And that, I think, like really, really creates this idea of like, okay, so the coherence between the zones, it doesn't really exist. And if you read the What I Asked, there's this thing where I think it was like Aonuma that said that, and he was like, so for Twilight Princess, we really spend a lot of time designing like the zones, but also like the roads leading to one region to another. And that was like a challenge, because how do you make like this universe coherent? And they said, basically, we did not want to bother with that in Skyward Sword. It's just like you go from zone 1 to zone 2 through like your mount, your Loftwing, the bird that you can fly, and there is no justification of like, why do we have a forest here? Why do we have like a volcano here? Why do we have like a desert here? Because the answer is like, it's just a reference to past Zelda games, so it doesn't matter, right?
Doesn't matter, and it's also, you know, the Mario philosophy: design first and then coherence second. Right, it makes sense. I mean, you are in the volcano area, so obviously you've got mountains, you've got the Mogmas, which is the tribe. It makes sense for them to be here. It makes sense, right? But there is no connection from going to the deep woods to the Alden volcano, because there is no path connecting the two areas together. It's just that, in Zelda games, you've got volcanoes, you've got deep woods, you've got deserts, so it has to be there. But they are disconnected. The way to go through these areas, and that's the main, let's just say, theme of the game, is the sky, right? Because you're basically from an island up into the sky, right? You live in the sky. And so if you want to go on the earth, on the ground, well, you're going to use your bird, your attached bird. You're going to move from one area to the next. The good thing, design-wise, from the developer's perspective, is that you don't have to create paths connecting the areas. You just have to fly there. So, of course, we don't know how disconnected the deep woods are from the volcano. So in that case, it makes sense that on that part of the world, you've got the deep woods, and on the other part of the world, you've got the volcano. But it's true that it's the first Zelda game to not have a connected world. The first one. Among the mainline games, we're not counting the spin-offs, obviously, but this one is the first one. What matters is that it made sense within the area, the obstacles, the puzzles. Coherence can come afterward.
And it makes everything very abstract, I think. It's like, we talked about that like a lot, but in Wind Waker, in Phantom Hourglass, in Spirit Tracks, yes, you go from one island to another, one station to another, but like the journey, is also like part of the game and part of the contemplation that you have. And in my opinion, when I played the game and when I rewatched it yesterday, it's not the case in like Skyward Sword. Like going in the sky, it's funny the first time, and then it just becomes like such a chore, because
it's a chore.
Even when you teleport from like one location to the ground to another, you have to make this trip to the sky. And it's not just like an instant teleportation. You have to like spend time on the sky. And I think it just makes the game a little bit heavy and the sky a little bit like without identity.
That is one issue that the HD remaster could not address properly, because the sky is such a huge component of the game that you can teleport from deep woods to the narrow desert. It's impossible. Like, it's impossible.
Yes.
It can't work like this, because again, the areas are not connected. You have to go through the sky. I think it's purposefully done, because this is not only is it how Fujibayashi considers the sky, because you've got the same philosophy in Tears of the Kingdom. It's also this idea of, no, but it's part of these characters' routine.
Yes.
The sky is a chore for these characters. So you have to go through that chore, whether you like it or not. But it's true that from just a design perspective, from the player's perspective, those sequences are never interesting.
It lacks something, because like, even like, I don't know, in Wind Waker, you know, you can just like direct your sail, and you go there and you kind of like soak in like the landscape. You have like dolphin around you. You have like a little, you know, you're on autopilot, but things are happening, and you can just sit back.
You're on autopilot, and things are happening because you feel like the ocean is infinite. It's endless. The sky in Skyward Sword feels very limited.
It's small, and at the same time, you have to like actively play to like guide your mount. You need at least with a motion control, you need like to make like motion control like gestures, and kind of takes you out of this like, oh, I can just sit back and relax and enjoy like what I'm seeing around me, because you don't have like a lot of like, you don't have like flock of birds like around you. It's not like a very...
No, it's just sometimes you've got little enemies, but they are jokes, so who cares, right? Even if you don't fight them, they're not posing any threats, so they're just that. There's really nothing to do. I think like they wanted to design the sky like a Mario overworld in a 3D game, like the castle in 64, Delphine, what's the name again? Delfino Plaza in Super Mario Sunshine, or Rosalina Observatory in Galaxy. But the problem is that those overworlds are iconic. They're iconic, and you've got things to do there. And not only are they nice, not only are they like basically acting as breaks from the world and the challenges, platforming challenges. But you've got also this, you can play with Mario's moveset. You've got stars to discover, or shine sprites to discover. In the case of the sky, there's a little pub outside. You've got some side quests if you want to do. You've got some chests, but the way to get access to the chest is something you do on the ground, not in the sky. You've got the big tower to reach. You've got an island for bugs, but it's so limited. Because even when we criticize the Wind Waker with sometimes islands that are which were not really well thought out, because you could go anywhere in the Wind Waker, but if you didn't have the proper item with you, well, the island was meaningless. But at the very least, you were discovering things. Okay, I'm mapping this, so later I can go back to this island and do the little stuff with the little dungeon. That's not the case in the sky.
And you have like way more progress. I mean, let's take, for example, like Phantom Hourglass, right? You have very early in this game, you need to go through the fog, right?
Yes.
And it's such like it's not that hard of a challenge, because like you get like information and stuff, but it had this slightly foreboding quality, especially because you see like the Phantom ship just after. And you never have like this moment in the sky in Skyward Sword. Yes, you need to open the barrier at some point, like to find like the whale and also the tower. But you don't feel like it's a monumental task that you are doing, because the game is like so casual about it. And it lacks, I think, no, as you said, like all that like is monumental is done like on the ground, never in the sky.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you have like raised all the mechanisms like to open the path like in the sky, but that was done like on an island on the ground.
Oh, you found you unlocked that chest in the sky. Yeah, but you unlocked that chest on the ground.
And to explain that,
the sky is your reward.
To explain that, like about like unlocking things on the ground, you have chests that are basically gray, and you need to activate them to be able to open them. The way to do that is like on the ground, you have like blocks that you can strike with like a special attack, and when you do so, they send like a beam that will activate the chest on the sky. But it means again that like the big part of it is like not finding the chest. It's mostly like finding the cube on the ground to be able to activate like the beacon. And I think it's like very not anticlimactic, because but it makes the sky a very dull place.
It is dull.
In some ways.
Devoid of life.
Yes.
Devoid of life. It's the remnants of an ancient world. It's the deities and that's it. But really, there's nothing really to do there.
And I think also like it ties with like how you also interact with the world around you on the ground. We kind of mentioned that like the game is packed with content like on the ground. You have like so many things to do. And again, I think it's a good thing. Like it's always a pleasant game. Like it seems that we're very negative here, but like it's just
we're not being negative.
It's just very pleasant when you're into it.
Yes. It's just that there is such a strong disconnect between what you do on the ground and what you do in the sky. Of course, it serves the theming of the game. But that's something we're gonna explore and explain later on. But from the player's perspective, it is true that there's such a disconnect between what you do on the ground and what you do in the sky. The sky acting like as a big loading time in a way.
Yes. There is this quality almost of like of short bite content.
Yeah.
Which is like something that you will find also in the Switch games, but like in a more elegant way. Like you have things to do, and it's like, okay, you need to solve this puzzle. It will take you between like 1 and 5 minutes, and then you just can go like to the next one. And I think it's a perfect game for people. It's so weird to say it, but it's a perfect game for people with like short attention span, because there are just so many things happening. You solve them like very easily, very quickly, and then you can go to the next, set piece, puzzle, or whatever. And it never ends. And it means that when you're playing, it's like very fulfilling. But when you stop playing and you cool down from your session, you're like, what did I do really? Because like this was just a succession of like small puzzles, but I don't have like this feeling of like grandeur that I normally have from Zelda games.
It's the next step in the philosophy of the Zelda DS game, where every little thing you do will matter at some point, but there is no strong sense of achieving anything grander. Like, it's small puzzles after small puzzles, which makes sense when you consider that this is a very gimmicky game in the way you control it. Because considering that you have to move, right? You had to use motion control. That's not the case in the HD remaster. You can play with a proper controller if you so desire.
It's a good time to say that, like, you played the game with the analog control, and I played with motion control.
Absolutely. So I played with the Pro controller on the Nintendo Switch, and you played with the Joy-Cons, right?
Yes, I did my entire playthrough with the motion control.
And back in the days when we played the game, we used obviously the Wii Motion Plus controller because there was no other options possible. In terms of accessibility, well, Skyward Sword was not Nintendo's at their best. Let's be real. I mean, if you suffer from a disability, you couldn't play the game on the Wii. That was simply impossible. And obviously, the game was designed with you playing with motion control in mind. So, well, you know, it's difficult to imagine players playing the game through a 5-hour session with no breaks.
Because my sessions were basically like 2 hours long from the archives that I've recorded. Because you do like an exploration, a dungeon, if like it was short, but and it's like 2 hours. And it's like the perfect time for a break, and then you come back like for your next, you know, bit the day after or whatever. And there's this like sense of like routine almost. And I wanted to say also something about like the lack of contemplation to some extent on the ground. Like if you have played Zelda games, like previous Zelda games, there is those moments like when you're just traveling where you just soak into what is happening around you. I think like a lot of people have like, you know, talked about the planes in Ocarina of Time and how big they were, but also like that was the point of it. It's like they're so big because like you soak in like how massive the world feels. You have like scenes where you jump around over like the chasm in Ocarina of Time. Also, this is like a moment that feels like just very special. You even have like a cutscene for that.
Yes.
And it allows you to kind of like feel the world around you and feel that you belong to this world to some extent. And my problem when I played like Skyward Sword is that you have like the dosing mechanic.
Dosing mechanic, yes.
Can you explain what it is for people?
So, you know, more often than not, in the overworld, you will have to find an object that got lost. Okay, and you will have to use your pointer to actually find this object. The closer you are, the more the sound is going to become invasive, right? Oh, it's dinning, right? Like you do with dosing.
Yeah.
And so you don't have the time to contemplate because you've got this noise with you and you have to switch from perspective, from third person to first person. And so you're constantly pointing at your screen, okay, where is the object hiding?
And so you're focusing more on the UI than the actual world, right? You just want...
Yes.
It's like, imagine playing a Zelda game, but you have like this tracker on always.
Radar. Yeah. Always on,
and obviously you focus on the radar more than like the actual environment around you.
Yes, but again, it makes sense within the way the world was designed because since every rock, every path is technically an obstacle, well, you don't have the time to contemplate. Right? It has to be fast. It has to be quickly paced. And so the dosing mechanic is actually genius because it makes sense within this world. It's very, you know, okay, so this is hidden, but we know that you don't want to spend too much time redoing the obstacles or you don't want too much time redoing like some of the challenges. So here's the dosing mechanic. You just have to point Then there's a radar helping you, and here you go. The more let's just say the noisier the dowsing mechanic gets, the closer you are to the actual object.
Yes, and I'm reading chat, but like they say it's like a minimap heavy games, a minimap heavy game where you stare more at the minimap than the game itself. And I think it's like
Yes.
really like the thing that you have with like
Yeah.
moving around in this game is just like we don't care about moving. We care about you going to the next like set of puzzle and solving it. And the actual like
Yes.
travel doesn't matter.
Which is again akin to the Zelda DS games, to Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Track. That was the same ideology.
Yes, but more
Because it's a very
forceful, I think.
Yes. Yeah, most forceful. Yes, yes. Because again, in the case of Phantom Hourglass, in the case of Spirit Trucks, those were stations. So you have one main gimmick per station, but
Yes.
in the world you had multiple stations, and in Phantom Hourglass you had a state of islands depending on which part of the ocean you were, northeast, northwest, and so on and so forth. In the case of Skyward Sword, it's a whole connected world. I mean,
within the zones, within the
zones. Yeah,
zones.
I didn't want to say world. I wanted to say zone. Right, it's a connected zone. Right. Zones between one another are not connected, but the zone, every area of the same zone is connected.
Yes, again, it's like like you can call that like
it's
a
like
mini
a world in
Mario.
It's really, that's really Mario game.
Exactly,
it's like a world in Odyssey.
It's like
or in Sunshine.
You exactly when you mentioned that, like it was so obvious, like that it has this like 3D Mario quality in a game that like it works, but also like does it work that well? I think it works the first time because like you discover the zone, and then when you re-explore the zone afterwards, because you explore every zone 3 times in total.
3 times, yes.
It's like it kind of like starts to lose its shine, right?
Steam. Yeah. Definitely. The first time, well, you're basically you've got the main ID, so everything is new to you, right? The second time it works as well because you rediscover the zone, you've got a new perspective, new tools with you, and then you've got a new sub-zone. So that's nice, which is not the case the third time.
Yes. To kind of like tell people what is happening between the first and second exploration, things are really changing. So for example, the woods at the beginning of the game, this is the first zone, and when you go back there again, everything gets flooded, and it's a reference to Lake Hylia, right? So you have to re-explore the forest, but everything is underwater, and then you get into a new subzone, and I think it's just enough to give you sense of
that is the third time. The flooding part. That's the third time.
Oh yes, yes. Because like, you just discover Lake Hylia in like the second time.
Because the third time for the Deep Root is the flooding event.
Oh yeah.
For Lanayru is for the volcano is basically the stealth minigame. You got all your items stolen and you have to retrieve them. And for Lanayru, it's just the boss challenge repeat.
Yeah, again, you do the dungeon, the mini dungeon again.
Yes. Because in the case, the second time you visit those zones in Deepwood, it's actually like you discover the new area with the new dungeon. For Volcano, again, it's a new area. And for Lanayru, it's the really famous Sand Sea.
Yeah, the reference
so again,
to
it's
like
a new area.
The reference to Wind Waker, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And this is kind of the thing also. It's like everything is a reference. Everything has to be a reference to a previous game.
Because it's an anniversary game. It's an anniversary game.
And it's all fun and all, I believe. But you cannot just rely on references. You need also to have like your internal coherence. And sometimes I believe that like the game is like kind of like falling a bit behind because it's like, oh, we are re-exploring that again, but I don't feel like it's like novel enough to justify like a third exploration.
Oh yeah, no, clearly not. It was padding.
And
because what they added is mini games.
Yes, and sometimes they're okay, but
They are okay.
I like, for me, one of the funniest things, because I completely forgot about that when replaying the game, is the second time you're exploring every zones, you have a mini game sequence where you need to find shards or pearls of light, whatever, to fuel your sword. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah.
But this
That's
is
not.
exactly the same mechanic you have like in Twilight Princess when you play Link as Link Wolf, and you go and search for like the beads of like energy, whatever. And it makes sense in Twilight Princess because you were playing like through another avatar, right? You play as a wolf
Yes.
and you don't have the tool that you have like as a human. And I think it's very interesting.
Yes, you're disabled. Yeah, in a way, yes, absolutely.
And here it's like, well, what are we doing? We are taking this mechanic, but you still play Link as a human, so we need like to bring something else, and we basically bring like the haunted armors from the DS games that are chasing you. And basically, I think that's what I wrote like to you when I first did like the section is like, it's Pac-Man, but if it was Rayman 2.
Yes. Which makes lots of sense.
Which makes lots of sense because like
when you play it.
The thing is like you're in this so you're in your region and everything is in the dark except for like small patches of light where the enemies cannot enter. And they are just like you can stun them, you can stun the enemies basically by like finding some, you know, little, let's call them items on the way, and you're on a timer and you need like to refresh your timer to keep like the enemies kind of like stunned to some extent.
Yes.
And then you go from like one pearl to another. So it really feels like you are rushing like Pac-Man to eat all the fruits. But it's not novel enough. You don't have this sense of like, oh, I'm doing something very different from like what I would do in the first exploration. I'm basically going through the same zone, but I'm speedrunning from pearl to pearl. And again, there is no sense of contemplation. There's no sense of dread because you are retreading like an area that you already know.
Yes, it's another mini game. Like you know the area, obviously, like in the back of your hand. So now we are going to add danger to it. We're going to add threats to it. Okay, it's like basically, oh, you became familiar with you got your 8 raid coins in Mario 64, for example. So you explored for the entirety of the area. So now we're going to add a new mechanic to it because you're already familiar with the layout. That's the same thing here. So you are familiar with the layout. You've explored the zone extensively. Let's add threads to it. So the way you approach the area is going to be different, but ultimately this is the same area again.
And I think it's like again, it's pleasant on the moment. It's pleasant on the moment, but like
Really
when you think back, the magic wears off like a little bit. It's like, oh, I just wanted more than that.
Yes, it fades away a little, for sure. The magic is not there anymore, which is why going through a third time is a bit of a kill.
It's a bit of a kill.
Compared to other Mario games, Skyward Sword is long. It's really long.
It is.
It's a really long game. It takes a lot. I mean, it took me, even if I know the game, like it was my second time playing through the game, it took me 40 hours.
It took you 40 hours?
35 and 40 hours. I did everything in the game, to be fair. I did everything.
I mean, I did everything. Or maybe, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I'm not that far away from you. I was thinking that I was at like 25, but I'm probably closer to like 33 or something like that. Like this is a long game. This is a long game. And there's so much to do because if you want to do all the content, you will do like a lot of back and forth in the sky to like do the side quest, open the chest and whatever. It's just very, very long.
I mean, it's already redundant just playing the main game. But if you do side quests, it's gonna be even longer.
I mean, you should do them, to be fair, because they're probably the most interesting part when it comes to like
Definitely.
the social quest or something like that. So this is like a little bit interesting. Also, let's just mention like combat a little bit. Because I think it's also a big part of the game, and we won't talk too much about it like afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
There has always been in the Zelda games, and I think like we talked a lot about it in the previous episode in French, this sense of like duel. When you play Ocarina of Time, when you play like Majora's Mask, you don't get ganked by enemies at the same time. They will wait their turn to attack. But this is like voluntary because they want to instantiate this idea of a dance, right?
Yeah.
And I think they're really leaning into that here because you need to fight with motion control. At least that's what we need to do here. I know that for you, you need to hold the stick, I think, to get the direction of like the strike.
Yeah, and you're using the second stick to actually control the direction of the sword. So yeah.
But here, because you have like this sense of I need to strike at the correct angle. Every fight is slower, is like a little bit more realistic in some ways. It feels like you have to react to what they're doing.
It definitely takes more time.
But it also means that like you don't have like that, let's say, that many fights because they are a bit time consuming, and they all rely on the same gimmick of like you need to find like the correct angle to strike the opening, and that's it. This is not very
Sure. And again, I mean, since you're playing with motion controls, people will have to learn the patterns, so we can't really make an extensive enemy list.
Yes, and again, is it fun? Yes, it is fun on the moment. Like I really had like a lot of fun. I think we talked about that as early as the first episode in the series. We told that like striking with a sword is so fun. Like how can you not like a game where you just have a sword and you strike things? And in the original The Legend of Zelda on the NES, on the Famicom, you just mash your A button, right? And there's a very
cathartic.
Yeah, this is very cathartic, just mashing your A button. And we give you basically a game where you can like strike with your sword. Isn't it like one of the best thing you can do? Just being able to swing your sword, and you see that like on the screen. And I think like, again, the combat is always fun, but it's not very deep.
No, it's not. And it can't be. Again, you're relying on movement. And the seasoned player should succeed. It will succeed, but so should the casual player.
Exactly. And I think, again, it's fine, but the combat never goes like
beyond like your first encounters.
Exactly. And I think a good example
what is going to make the game more complicated as it goes on is basically the enemy having a shield or having a gimmick. And that's it.
And let's talk about that, because we won't talk about it because it's not a dungeon, but like, oh my god, the demise fights again and again and again and
you
again.
have to repeat four times. Four times,
yes. And
because you start the game, you're like, oh, you're going to fight to refight the demise creature. You're like, okay, this is a Nintendo game, so probably 3 times, right? It's a Nintendo game, so it's 3 times. No, not this one. Not this time.
And oh my god, so to explain to you what the demise fight is. So demise is kind of like the antagonist of the game, but it's also not like evil. It's just like some sort of like passive corruption in the earth.
Yes, it's a corrupted creature, so it's no light nor evil. It's just that
it's not its fault. Like who can you can be corrupted. It's okay. It's not your fault. And basically, it's like, oh, we don't have like the power to kill it right now, so you just need to seal it.
Yes.
On the ground. And the fight is exactly the same every time.
Every time.
Can you explain like what the fight is?
Okay, so it's very vertical. So basically, you've got a huge area in the deep woods. This is technically the introductory area of the deep woods. And below, right below, you've got a sword sealed onto the ground. And as you're going to progress through the game, the imprisoned creature, which is Demise, is going to get out, and you will have to fight it. And what you should avoid at all cost is for the imprisoned creature to actually reach the temple. So it's basically like you have to fight the boss. You have to put it on the ground, heat it 3 times, basically. This is your Zelda game. And do all of that before it reaches the temple, which is fun the first time.
Because it's not too hard.
It's not hard. No, it's not hard.
And then it becomes frustrating.
It becomes frustrating because we are adding mechanics. So it's the same ID every time. But then it grows arms. And then it can fly.
And also the shockwave at like every step is so annoying.
Yeah, it's
because
so annoying.
You don't have any tool to mitigate them. And it feels like so unfair and so unfun because it's like the third time you're fighting it, and it's like, I just want to get this done and go to the next exploration part, please.
Yes.
And
oh yeah, and it was even worse in the Wii version because control was less accurate.
Yeah, like this is really not a fun fight. I think the first one works because it's so simple and it's fun to, you see like his big toes, white toes or whatever, and just striking them and they explode. It's kind of, fun to some extent. But afterwards, it's such a struggle because you need to keep up with like Demise walking through the ramp. And you have to be at the correct position. You sometimes get like thrown away by like the shockwave and stuff, and you're just too slow to run behind it. So very, very frustrating for no reason, basically for no reason.
And compared to other Zelda games, this time you've got a meter, right? When you want to run, you run faster for sure, but you've got a meter with you. So if the meter basically there's nothing in it, well, basically you're tired and you have to wait a little. So that makes that boss fight excruciating because this one is all about, you have to quickly react.
Yes, and your opening frames for like a strike on the toes, it's so annoying. And also like you need to be able to target those and oh my god, it's just not fun. It's just not fun. And the fact that the game is like compounding them again and again on you, it's like I just want to stop fighting Demise, please. Can we do something else? Can we do something more fun? Because I think like it's just padding for no reason. And I don't like that.
No, it's not interesting. I mean, it's the same idea every time. For the first time, it works because, that makes for a really interesting Zelda boss. That's not something we usually see in a Zelda boss. Usually it's like your small zone, which is self-contained. Now it's opened, and you have to rush.
Yes.
Usually you take the time in a Zelda boss fight because there is no timer running, or like there is no like whatever happened, whatever the scale. Well, you've got time, so take the time to analyze. Take the time. Okay, I see the pattern. I should do this, and so on and so forth. So that's not the case with the Imprisoned or Demise. The Imprisoned, you have to rush because if you take too much time, well, it's gonna reach the temple, and that's game over for you.
And just having to repeat that again, oh my god, it's such like a...
It's a game that is all about repeat, really.
Yes, but like this one is like, we are repeating, but there's nothing new. There's nothing like interesting like to add to the mix.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's really to tell you like we could go like for hours on just like individual like little things that we can do in this game, but I don't think it's interesting because like there is just so much and we don't have time to cover everything. But we kind of like wanted you to understand that like it's a game packed with content and it works most of the time because you get like just enough novelty to keep you interested like while you're playing.
It's again like Mario. because in Mario you've got repeated content,
Yes.
whether it be 64, Sunshine, especially Sunshine, to a fault actually, and Galaxy. Like, oh, you're going to redo this boss fight, but this time you've got one PV, one
Yeah, yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So all right, so that makes the thing a bit more challenging. And since this is a Mario boss fight, it goes by very quickly.
Yes, yes, yes.
But in the case of the Zelda game, you expect something different. And sometimes it works in Skyward Sword, sometimes it really doesn't.
It's just, yeah, a roulette of like, you have like so many ideas. Will this one be something that you as the player, you will like? And most of the time it is, because, it's still, a Nintendo game. So like the
Yeah, so it's
quality,
really well. Yeah, the quality is all over the roof. It's really well made.
but sometimes it's like a little bit like, I have like areas that I really don't like. I don't like the imprisoned fight. I don't like the escort mission on the volcano with like the robot that you need to bring on the top. I know that like you went through it pretty easily. I did not. I died like several times, and there's like this thing where you don't have any checkpoint. You need to start back at the very beginning of the volcano, and it's like I'm basically like doing the escort mission again, and like this robot is so slow, and if you go like too fast, it doesn't follow you. So you need like to keep your pace a bit like slow, and it's like, what are we doing here?
I mean, variety there is in this game.
Exactly.
Unquestioned. It's a game. It's all about variety. I don't think the areas became too tiring in a way. Like, it's not too
No,
tiresome because you're constantly doing a new thing.
it's never
But
it's never the area. It's like the individual set piece
yes,
that might be a bit, uninteresting or not as well designed as they could be. Um, but again, it makes like, the 30, 40 hours pretty okay. Like you really just have like a good experience most of the time. And I think like that's
yes.
also what they went for with this maximalist design. And you know what? Like we tell that like every time we play a Zelda game, but it's like the game is not here to please you. It's like they have an idea
No,
and they go with it. If you don't vibe with the idea, then it's too bad for you, and you'll be here next time for the next Zelda game.
yes. If you don't like if you don't like the approach, well, there's always next time.
Yeah, and you can play like the
I
games
mean,
that you loved.
oh,
It's like okay to
you
replay
don't
them.
like the time mechanic in Majora's Mask? Too bad. Better luck next time. Oh, you don't like the ocean in the Wind Waker? Oh, there's always next time. And Twilight Princess was a bit of a crowd pleaser, but even within this crowd pleaser, you don't like this? Well, too bad. This is still a Zelda game.
I
So
mean, we found the same idea now that I remember, like in Twilight Princess, of like, oh, you have like so many things to do, like in this
yes.
game. It's packed with like mini games for sometimes no reason, and it's like, do you like this or not? And I think we had the same opinion of like, you never get tired in this game, but also like, not everything works, unfortunately.
No, not everything works. As a whole, it works. You're going to have you're going to keep in mind nice moments into this game. It's like it's easy to remember fondly, like, oh, I really like that part of the game. Really, really did like it. But then taken like individually, oh, I really didn't like that set piece, or I really didn't like that moment, or I didn't think that area was particularly well designed, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I just want also to touch like on something that I feel is interesting to do the transition to the next section of
Yes.
this podcast. It's such, and you mentioned that like a little bit, it's such a vertical game.
Yes.
You have this sense of like you need to look up and down, and I think this is one of the big success of like Skyward Sword.
Oh, yeah.
The
For
way
real.
things are like hidden in the environment, the fact that you can go into like first person again with dosing or whatever, and it forces you to kind of like praise verticality. It's not enough to give like contemplation, but at the very least, like the puzzles are kind of like forcing you to do so, and I think it's like such a delightful touch, and it's especially a delightful touch in the dungeons.
Yes.
And I think it's time to talk about the dungeons because they are interesting in this game
They are
for
usually
many reasons.
considered. They're usually considered the best part of this game. Skyward Sword, once Breath of the Wild got released, and we're like, oh, this is not like this is a different structure for Zelda, so it's like I kind of miss the old structure. And when we're talking about Skyward Sword, people are usually talking about the dungeons. This is the crowned, the jewel aspect of this game for most people, is that they tend to think the dungeons are excellent. And when you think about it, true.
I like
But I wouldn't say
most
this is
of them.
I wouldn't say this is the greatest selection of dungeons the franchise has ever had. I wouldn't say this, but yeah, for most of them, I do feel they're pretty interesting.
I mean, okay, so we kind of like need to address first that there are like major dungeons and like minor dungeons, the way you also have like
Yes.
in Ocarina of Time, for example.
True.
You have 7 main dungeons,
Right.
and you have at least 7 smaller dungeons.
Smaller dungeons, yes.
Because when you explore a zone, it's like, okay, you have like the pure
And
open
without-
world, not open world, but
Yes.
like overworld like exploration.
Yeah.
And then we give you like an appetizer, like a small dungeon that will open like the big dungeon, and there you have your flagship dungeon.
Usually it's 2 to 3 rooms.
Exactly.
Because I know that some people tend to consider that there is only one mini dungeon, and that's the pirate stronghold.
Yes.
But again, this mini dungeon is already bigger than you.
Yes, exactly.
Your other.
Like for me, even like the small things where it's like, okay, you have like 2 puzzles in like 3 rooms, but it's already like a minor dungeon. Like you still have to think your way through, even if it's like more linear. And those are nice things. I like this idea of having of kind of blending, what like dungeons are into the world in a very like seamless fashion. And for all the slight criticism that we gave like to the game for now, the way you use like items is so good in this game.
Oh yeah.
You have like a limit. Yeah, go on.
No, I was going to say this is addressing one of what was considered one of Twilight Princess' biggest drawbacks, is that you have one item for one dungeon, and then that's it. You're never really going to use that dungeon ever again.
Because those items were so niche.
Oh.
But like in this game, it's like, no, you will constantly. She cannot speak. Constantly. Use like those items in the overworld, in like other dungeons, in micro dungeons, and it feels like so alive. I love the I can't remember, but the one that makes like wind.
No. The bagpipe, basically.
Yeah, it's like it's so fun. Just like pushing enemies or send away with your item. You have like a whip that feels like so reactive, so fun to use because they also use like items in like different ways. It's like, oh, let's think a little bit more about like what this item can be used for, and let's invent emergent ways of showcasing it like in the overworld.
Yes.
And it's always
let's think outside the box.
Exactly. And it's always so fun to be like, oh, I can use like this item again to progress in this area that has no relationship to the dungeon where I first got it. And it makes like every little challenge fun. Again, that's why repetition and all the small puzzles that we talked about like just before, they are fun when you play them because you don't repeat the same solutions every time. You will use the same items, but they're always used in a different way, and that's like very, very fun right on the moment when you play the game.
True.
But okay, so that's for the items and like the micro dungeons. I don't think like we can talk too much about them because they're just like they're fine, they're nice. Okay,
they're nice. They bring teasers for the main meat and the main dish.
But let's talk about like the main dungeons.
7 of them, yes. In that game.
I don't know how you want to go through them. Do you want to go like some overall opinions on them, or do you want to go like kind of like immediately one by one?
I think we should give our overall opinion on them before.
So what do you think about those dungeons?
I think they're pretty great. It's a great selection of dungeons. It starts a bit slow If you give a look at Skyview and Earth Temple,
But I
which are
think
very
they're
linear.
also like good introductory dungeons. They are not. They
Yes.
don't hit as hard as, for example, the first one in like Ocarina of Time.
Enough time, no, for sure, no.
But Skyview Temple is like such a good dungeon for like a first dungeon.
Yeah, Earth Temple less so.
Less so, I think it's like
it's so gimmicky. That's my problem. It's so gimmicky. You've got a ball. You have to roll the
you
ball.
run like
with
around
fire.
the
You run. It's not. It's basically sorry, a set of obstacles first, and then a dungeon second.
I mean, Earth Temple would be my weakest dungeon, like in the game.
No, it is. It is. I think, and it's a very popular opinion.
Yeah.
I've never read, oh, this is my favorite dungeon.
But after that, like third onwards, it's really good. It's really, really good.
It's really good, and not just in terms of the puzzles, but also the theming.
We always say, like in this series, that we love when dungeons are actually tied with like the overall narrative.
When they manage to woven the theme with the puzzle.
And the world around them. And I think that was the problem with like Twilight Princess, where the dungeons were like, I don't exactly understand why we are here and we're doing that.
In that zone. Yeah.
In that zone.
I think except for the Ice Palace in
yes,
Princess.
Because it was not Ice Palace, but like Ice Mansion or
it was a mansion. It's not a palace, it's a mansion, you're right. But
because you have like this making this soup thingy that is very
which
good.
worked really well. But otherwise, it was it's in a tree, but nothing reminds you of a tree.
Yes.
It's just that the setting is the tree, and that's it.
To be fair, like narratively speaking, the dungeons are not that interesting in Skyward Sword, but like the visual theming is like so good.
So good.
Even in the weakest dungeon, I would say. And you say that like people think that like this is the best set of dungeon like in the series. I don't think it is. For me, I think it would still be like Majora's Mask.
I don't think they consider it being the best, because I think for most people, and rightfully so, they're going to say Ocarina of Time as the best dungeon.
Oh really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Especially nowadays, we're going to say Ocarina of Time is unmatched when it comes to dungeons, which I tend to agree. Yeah.
You would say that like it's your favorite set of dungeons?
I would say it's probably my favorite set of dungeons nowadays, yes.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, Majora's Mask would be, for me, but, I mean, Ocarina of Time has got, like...
Yeah, you have, like, way more dungeons.
Like it's got 10 dungeons, and they're all superb. So, in terms of selection, like, to me, it's unrivaled. But Majora's Mask has got my favorite dungeons.
They're all just so strong. Yeah, we talked about that, so let's not talk too much about like Majora's Mask. But I think here it's just like you have at least 2 dungeons are like impeccable. Like you just cannot do better. It's like the
Sand Ship and the...
I wasn't thinking about that.
You weren't thinking of the Sand Ship.
I know that the Sand Ship is like kind of like the dungeon where I don't agree with you exactly.
Yeah, I really
for
like
me, this
that
is
one.
like 3 and 4. This is the mine. The mines.
The Nehru mining facility.
Yes, and then well, obviously, Ancient System is like the best. It's the best dungeon in the series. So.
Yeah, it is. I wouldn't say the best dungeon in the series.
Oh, really? Like for me, I really think it's the best dungeon of the series. Like thinking about it, like I mean, we will talk about it like in just a moment, but
yeah, because this is the theming of the game is the Ancient System.
Yeah,
I feel like this idea of a dungeon, and then they built a game around it.
They built the game around it, but they didn't go like full into this aesthetics, which is like a little bit disappointing to me, because I would love a more like Eastern
true.
Zelda like this.
You've got 6 typical dungeons, and then you've got Skykeep, which is be prepared for what comes next.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I think like the dungeons are very... It's like the Fuibayashi design of like I put like as many puzzles as I can in those dungeons, but then you have like the teaching of like Aonuma, who said, but you also need to be holistic. You also need to think about the dungeon as a whole.
Yes.
And when it works, it works so well.
It's basically Minish Cap if it had the design of Ocarina of Time.
Yes. And again, like even the weakest dungeon they are fun. They are fun to play.
Yeah, they're fun, and the setting matters. As you mentioned, they are holistic. It's like, yeah, you've got those side puzzles room by room, but then it's like a mechanic door where every part matters.
Yeah, and then you look back into the main like room, and it's like, oh, it did that, and you immediately know where you need to go. And I think it's like such a delightful design.
And this is why people tend to use this selection of dungeons, in contrast to the ones in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. It's but the game prior Breath of the Wild was like this, was not like this anymore.
And I think we'll talk about this like talking about the dungeons here will answer this question, I think, very sharply. But like let's talk about the dungeons like kind of like individually. So if you don't know like the dungeons, if you don't know the game, sorry for this, because this will be like quite not in depth, but like very precise. So
Yes.
Skyview is like your introductory dungeon, and we know that like it's a dungeon where you kind of like have to present the basic mechanics. It's like a recapitulation of like your early hours in the game.
Yeah, and it's also like it's in the deep woods, so it has the aesthetics of woods. You've got plants, you've got your spiders, you've got basically anything typical of a Zelda, of a 3D Zelda game first dungeon.
I do like the fact that it's like divided in like two sections that are very sharply different in terms of aesthetics. The fact that you start like in this like grotto, kind of like translucent, or with like shimmering lights, and then you enter like in some kind of like sky ruins. The transition between one to the other, I think it's like very fun. It gives it, and you also see that like it becomes a bit more open when you get into the second half. And it's a good like
you unlock the item, which
exactly.
the beetle, which helps you to explore.
It's such a good item.
Such a good item for exploration. It's perfect. It's literally perfect.
The fact that like it opens like your appreciation of like the geography and just the topology of the dungeon a bit more is really, really good. And of course the beetle will get like will stay useful for the entirety of the game, which is something that I really like. One thing I really like about like Skyview Temple is like it's a good first boss. I think like I know I love like swordsman duels.
Yeah.
But to open the game with like a direct, like pure sword fight duel with like no gimmick.
That was, and also I think this is because again, Skyward Sword plays on typical tropes, but it's not your typical Zelda game.
Yes.
In terms of progression, as we mentioned, world is not connected, so that's already something different from the previous entries in the franchise. And so you go through the first temple. Okay, I've got a beetle. But then you realize, but how am I going to fight the boss using the beetle? Because it's not really something you use in combat compared to other items.
Yes.
It really has one main use, which is exploration. And then you realize, that's because the first boss is actually a duel.
Yes.
Because by now you should be able to swing your sword properly.
And it's such a good recapitulation of like, I learned to use the sword in like, let's say by this point you have played the game 1 hour for the introduction, 2 hours for like the first like forest thingy, and 1 hour for the temple. So your first boss fight comes like at 4 hours into the game.
4 hours in.
And then you have like this duel immediately, and it feels so good because it's so. When you play like a Zelda game, normally like those bosses will attack you with very telegraphed mechanics. They have like an order of attacks that they will do on you, and you need to like dodge them. It's not the case here. Giram is just waiting for you to attack because he's appraising you, and he's also kind of like mocking you as like a fledgling like swordsman. And it's so good. I think like this is the thing that normally you would have like at the very end of the game. Your sword fight against like Ganondorf. And here it's like, no, the antagonist comes like immediately, and you will get your duel immediately because we want to showcase motion control. And I like that very much.
Yes, this is addressing once again the complaint that Xanto is the French name, but Zand in the English speaking version, it was like that. Only only appeared at the end, basically.
Yes,
He
and
was there
very
the whole
pathetic
game,
also.
and very pathetic, like kind of became your comic relief. I know some people like that. I don't mind it. You do, but I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a change in tone, which is considerable. And here that's the total opposite, total contrast. No. Like this guy's the real deal, and you're fighting him the first time, and then you're going to
And you
revive
have like this
him the whole game.
you have this homosexual energy coming from him also that like
Oh yeah.
it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Like it's a bit fresh in this franchise. It's done
It's
in a
what
good way, I think.
it's like, what do you want to do with Link? Be honest. What do you want to do
I
with
mean,
Link?
isn't there like a part, I can't remember, isn't there a part where like he licks Link's Link's cheek? It's like, wow.
Yeah.
And it's like,
That
oh,
happens.
you're really
That
not
actually happens multiple times.
yeah, you're really not interested in Zelda. Like you're just interested in Link. It's like, but also that's what he tells you at some point. It's like he's appraising you. Like he doesn't want to kill you. He wants to fight with you. It's like
Yes.
it's very, very interesting. But yeah, Skyview Temple, I think, is the first good introductory dungeon. It's like on the upper half of like the series when it comes to them.
Yes.
And it's also like a reference to, as you say, like all the forest dungeons that you open games with, obviously.
It's basically like it's blending everything together,
Exactly.
but at the same time being its own thing.
Exactly.
So that works really well.
Earth Temple, well, it's the weakest by far. Like I think
it's the weakest because it has this main gimmick where you have to roll the ball to get through the lava. And so like it's a big mini game.
It's just fun. You go like from one room to the other by like crossing the lava on your ball, and it's like, I mean, why not? But also like there's just that and not much else. The puzzles are just very simple and
it's not too surprising. I mean, considering the way the dungeon is framed, you can not have been different because rolling the ball is going to get to take a huge chunk of the dungeon. So a huge chunk of the dungeon is going to be a linear path. And once you get through the second phase of the dungeon, the second part, well, it's your typical fire dungeon. So it's not super interesting. Doesn't do anything new.
It's kind of like really like the weakest by far in the in the game, which is okay. Like you need like a weaker dungeon also, but this one was like really disappointing compared to the rest.
It's the weakest dungeon with the weakest boss fight.
Oh, you think the boss fight is like is weak?
I really don't like it.
I think it's like I think it's fun for the verticality of it. It's not very interesting like on the on the great scheme of things. But I really like that, like, okay, so the boss fight is this sort of like chameleon or salamander, whatever. And you basically need to throw bombs at it. But like you have also the height advantage. You're like at the top of like the slope, and the salamander is like going towards you like by climbing the slope, and you throw like bombs at it from a distance. And I think like it's fun. It's just there's not much than that. So visually, like it's fun, but it at least it dies fast. But
yeah, and I think the whole dungeon is like you've got bomb flowers, and so the item is a bomb bag. You're like, yeah, okay.
It's like obviously we need bombs.
Considering how crazy the beta was, and then you go into the second dungeon. Oh, it's the bombs. It's a recurring item in the Zelda franchise. It's not super exciting. I can't imagine any player being like, yes, finally, bombs.
Finally, the bombs. I have the bombs.
Back. Finally, I was waiting for this.
My favorite. And this is also very weird because like in the previous games, you had different bombs, right? You had like the
Obviously, you had the watery bomb. You had
the mouse bomb that is kind of like
absolutely. You had so many different things, and here it's just bombs.
It's just bombs. So yeah, I guess like it's a dungeon. It's not the worst dungeon like in the series, but it's also just not very.
No, it's not the worst dungeon in the series. Let's be real. But it's by far one of the least exciting ones.
Yeah.
And I don't like Scaldera. It's so gimmicky.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like that creature at all.
I don't like that creature. And then Lanayru mining facility. I love this dungeon. I love
Yeah,
this
this dungeon
dungeon.
is great.
The theming is so good because you have like those like time changing, time shift like mechanics.
Yeah,
And the mines, when you go into the past, they have like this futuristic sci-fi
yeah,
quality that I really, really, really like.
yeah. And
It's so
and
colorful.
otherwise it's so like it's deteriorating. Like it's been
Yeah.
forgotten by time. So it works really well.
And you have like this sense of
Um,
like verticality. Things are
yes.
so big. You go into like small like vents, and then you look back into the main room that is like so immense. I love it so much, and I think like the item is so fun. The gust
Oh yeah,
bellows, it's
the
so
gust
fun.
flows.
It's
Yeah,
so fun. Just like
it is.
vacuum cleaning things, not vacuum cleaning because you're pushing like air, obviously, but like uh, you
Yeah,
see
but
like small
you're
things.
cleaning rooms.
Yeah, your
So
cleaning room is so fun to do in games, and it has
yeah,
this a Mario Sunshine quality to it.
it does. It certainly does. Yeah.
Uh, like and how like the world is reacting to that. Like you can like push like small enemies like away. Uh, it's just very fun. I love the main cards. I love like the time
Yeah.
shift mechanic. I love the um conveyor belts that are red. Like you really have like this electricity feeling when
And
you activate like everything.
it's and it's really well clued.
Yeah, it
Like
is.
you got it's been abandoned by time. So obviously you will have a bellow basically to help you get
Yes.
through some of the areas in that dungeon, some of the rooms. So no, it's really clever. It's so funnily enough, I think this is the only dungeon in that game and one of the only dungeons in the up to this point in the history of the franchise up to this point that there was no mini boss, right?
There was no mini boss, yes.
There was no mini boss,
It's a
absolutely.
very
I mean,
long dungeon, but you don't
it's a
have like
very long one.
any mini
You don't
boss.
have a mini boss. You don't have a mini boss. No.
Because you get the item just by like dropping at the end of like this room where you have like a lot
Yes.
of things to clean.
True.
Um, but also like the boss is I love the boss. I love the boss because
Hmm?
it's like the boss is trying to hide and you're just like being like, oh no, I'm like
like,
vacuum cleaning around you and I'm crushing you.
and it's also like mini bosses in that game testing your ability to switch items.
Yes.
Yeah, which works really great. This is Aonuma's, if I'm not mistaken, Aonuma's favorite dungeon in that game.
I think it is. I think
I
it
think it
is.
is. Yeah, I
And
remember reading that. Yeah.
yes,
And I get why, because this is the perfection of the Zelda formula as a dungeon.
oh,
It,
clearly
it, it's
it
it's
has this.
perfected.
It has this old school style of like dungeon that just works well. It's like you
Yes.
enter the big room and you check your
Yeah.
map when you get like the map and it's like, oh yeah, I see obviously where I need to go. I have like one wing to the
Oh, yeah.
left, one wing to the
I
right,
mean,
but you know that like they will loop back into the main room and you just like need more information to find like because you have also on the left side of the main room you have like this sand thingy where you need the map to know where like the road is, where the path is, and it leads you to the vents. It's just so good. Like the way you gain information is in this dungeon and it helps you progress in a very organic way.
it's really well done.
It's just well done, and you have like micro
Again,
puzzles and stuff. It's
again, if you had to describe to someone not familiar with the other franchise, what is the perfect formula for the perfect design for a Zelda dungeon? I think you would go for this dungeon.
yeah, it's there is literally like nothing to fault in this dungeon in
Oh
terms of
no,
design. It's like what you would feel an ideal Zelda dungeon is. Is it the best dungeon of the game? No, because it's a little bit too
no,
clinical to some extent. It's like it's too perfect. It's kind of like by the book design, very surgical, very.
it is
Uh,
by the book. Yes.
it works, but it lacks just a little bit of soul. And oh my god, you have that in the next dungeon.
Yeah, you do have that. Like for most people, this is the high point of the game, and I
Yeah,
do feel it is.
it's like it's the jewel of like this game. And to
Yes.
be fair, like in my opinion, the game
Yeah.
kind of like goes down after this.
Yes, it peaks even in terms of dungeons. I mean, the dungeons afterward were not bad. I mean, I love the sand ship. We're going to talk about
Yes.
it in a matter of seconds, but after that, after the cistern, oh yeah, no, this is Zelda's dungeon at its best.
So it's very funny because like the game is kind of like we kind of like told that like earlier. This is very Western in terms of aesthetic. And
Yes.
then you enter like the ancient cistern, and you already have like hints that like this is a Buddhist game. We'll talk about that in the narrative section.
It is it is Western in its aesthetics and the way to think of a community, for example, when we're going to talk about Skyloft a bit later in the podcast. But ultimately, no, this is a Buddhist game, and this is a Japanese game, all right. And with just many people who made it.
And then you get into the ancient cistern, and it's like you are welcomed by like an immense statue of like Buddha. And it's like, it's so good. It's just so good. Like everything is so golden because basically you're in the Pure Land right now. You're in paradise. You enter the dungeon being in paradise, and it's so good.
Yeah, it's a bit lavish in the decoration and stuff.
Yeah, but it feels like so peaceful compared like to what you would expect from like a Zelda dungeon. And you have this mechanic of like bringing down the water level.
Yes.
And this is like a nice reference to, you know, the water dungeon we had in mostly Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. But in such a clean way. You're never getting like lost into like the design of the dungeon. Things are pretty clear.
Oh, never.
And because everything like revolves around this like Buddha statue at the middle of like the main room, and oh my god, it's just so good. And you have this moment at the middle of the dungeon where you go into a side room while doing your things, and it's like dark. It's dark, and you see that like in the other side of like a sort of like barred window, and on the other side you can see like it's hell. It's literally hell. And you just like go through this room like for a few seconds, but it's such a nice teaser about like things that will come after. Because when you drop like the water, then you go into like the Buddha statue at the middle, and you fall to the bottom.
Yes.
And just like again, the act of falling in this game, we'll talk about that later.
Falling, yeah. Oh yeah.
But you fall but you fall to the bottom, you open the door, and it's like, oh no, it's Chikoku. And now we're in hell. And everything everything is like so dark, so purplish. It's just so good.
It is like the whole dungeon is based upon a short story about Yunosuke Akutagawa.
Exactly, like the spider thread, the like
spider thread. So you probably know, if you're a bit versed in Japanese literature and Japanese cinema, you're probably familiar with Akutagawa because he's the writer of Rashomon and Inner Grove. Is also a detective writer of some short stories.
He did like everything. He's like the most important short story writer of Japanese literature.
I mean, again, this is a writer from the Taisho era of Japan, so you know, man has done everything.
Exactly.
And so in this story, you start with I think the name of the character is Shakyamuni, I think.
I can't remember. I mean, you start with like Buddha in paradise that is looking down.
I mean, Shakyamuni is the name of Buddha, so yeah.
You're kind of like looking. He's looking down like in his pond. And like he's peering into like Chikoku. So Buddhist hell, and he sees. I can't remember. I don't know if the man is named in this short story. But he looks at like a man that is like in hell and suffering in hell.
Isn't the name Konda or Kandata?
Maybe.
I think it's Kan something.
Maybe. I can't remember exactly. But like,
I want to say Kandata.
If you can search, yeah.
I will. Let me check.
So what I explain the story. So he peers into this man, and he remembers that this man has saved. Like he is an awful man, but like once in his life, he has saved like a spider. He was like, well, I could have like walked on the spider to crush it, but let's not do that. And he kind of like stepped away. And Buddha was like, you know what, like maybe he is not such a bad person after all, so we'll give him one chance to come to paradise with us in the Pure Land. And he used like he holds like a spider, and the spider is like making a thread of silk, obviously, that is falling from the Pure Land into the pond and into Chikoku. And you have like this thread of silk, white, that is kind of appearing in front of like this man, Konda or whatever. And obviously, like he tried to, he grabs the thread and starts climbing up. But he is not alone to do that. Like you have like many other sinners that are coming like behind him to try to walk like to exit Jigoku as well. And in the story, Konda is like, oh no, this is my thread of silk. You cannot like come with me. And he starts like fighting with them, like stepping on them, like to make them fall. But obviously this is like just a single thread. And the thread is like snapping because of like all the movement that is happening. And everybody falls back into hell. And the end of the story is just like Buddha being like looking sadly at what happened and being like, men will be men.
Yes.
And you have like this scene in the game.
Kondata, by the way. It's Kondata.
Okay. So you have the scene in the game, and can you explain like what is happening like in the game?
So basically, you mean the thing with the thread, right?
Yeah.
So in order to get back to paradise, and so the upper part of the dungeon, you have to climb the thread, right? You have to reach it, and then you climb it. But suddenly you've got the zombie version of the moblins catching you, and you have to you have to check the threads for them to fall, and then the music gets very like stress-inducing, suspense-inducing, and then you have to go like it's very stressful, and then you reach, and that's the end of the section.
And especially because just before, like you had like a seemingly endless gauntlet of fight against like those zombie moblins in hell, and it really is like such a drastic change of like pace compared to the part that you did like on Pure Land just before. And then you exit like Jigoku and you get back into like the nice area, and it's just like it works so well. I think like if you know, I mean, if you're Japanese, you know this story. This is like one of the most famous stories in like literature.
It's a children's story. It was published in a children's magazine, so it's super famous. It's usually something you read when you are in secondary school.
Yeah,
in Japan, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, this is also like it's so famous that it's literally like one of the first stories that like we advise like foreigners that are learning Japanese to read.
It's the kind of a story like even if you've never read it, you know the story.
You have seen references like in so many games, but this is like such an explicit reference, and also like it works so well with the theming, with the fact that like we hinted since the beginning that this is a Buddhist game, and it's like yes, so let's do something that is completely that. But also you don't have like you don't have dialogues at all here. It's like purely visual like storytelling.
Yep.
And you just enjoy like the ride. And everything works in this dungeon. It's like mechanics of fun. The item is fun, the whip.
The whip. Yeah, it's again, it's not the first time Zelda featured a whip. There was one in Spirit Tracks.
Yes.
Spirit Tracks, yes. But now it's in 3D.
It's 3D and it really works well because you can do like so many things with like this whip. You can use it to attack. You can use it to grab things. It is just like very, very, very good. And I think like the boss is also very fun. Like trying, at least the first part, trying to like dodge, and then you kind of like use
Collectos.
Collectos.
It's super fun.
And then you like use your whip to kind of like break like his armaments when he like misses an attack. This dungeon is like crazy. Even like if you check like screenshots of the dungeon, I think it's like one of the most iconic immediately. Like visually, it's like because everything is golden. When you enter the dungeon, it really speaks to you. And like this nice literary reference on top that you kind of like get when you go into hell. Like this is not obvious immediately that like we are going into this, but when you get into Chikoko and you kind of like soak into the sights and all, and this is again a very foreboding moment compared like to the first part. You're like, oh, I see what like the reference for this particular dungeon was, and it works very, very, very well.
Very, very well, yes.
So that's like my favorite dungeon in the game. I think that's the favorite dungeon of like most people.
Yeah, I think like it's most players' favorite dungeon. I think I've never heard someone saying that, oh no, I'm not super keen on that dungeon.
Yeah.
I think no.
And like, is it like one of the? I mean, this is one of the best in the series, obviously.
Oh, clearly.
Is it the very best in the series? I'm not sure. Probably. Like, I would consider it a contender.
Yes. No, for sure. Is it the very best? I don't know.
You have like so many crazy dungeons.
There are dungeons I personally prefer over that one, but still, right?
Yeah, I mean,
it's a series of excellent dungeons, so like.
And so this one is not exactly by the book. This is like very different from like Lanayru because it.
No, this one is a bit unique. You know, in each and every Zelda game, you've got that dungeon that is a bit different from the rest of the franchise. This game's different dungeon.
Yes.
With another one.
Yes.
The last one is also very different, but in due time.
In due time. So we can speak about like your dungeon that you like a lot as well, Sandship.
Because I think I've got a thing for puzzle boxes happening on boats. I think that's the thing. Right? I don't think this dungeon is doing anything particularly amazing or anything, but this one I really like. The way that this is your typical puzzles out of a Zelda game, especially since you're going to get the bow and arrows. So, but now you have to consider how to use the bow within the framework and the setting of a boat, and I really, really dug that.
Because
and also the fact that you're constantly changing, right?
Exactly.
Between the past version of the boat and the present version of the boat. You basically in Lanayru Desert, you've got this mechanic within the overworld and within the dungeons with the mining facility or the boat, with the possibility of getting back into the past, what it was like. I was going to say decades, but really centuries prior to Link's time. And so suddenly the whole mood of the boat changes. Now you've got enemies. Now you've got pirates. And now you've got puzzles and mechanics working.
Yes.
So more often than not, it's very basic. You have to find the switch. But I really, really liked, because there's one switch.
It's on the top of the boat, right?
Yeah, on the top of the boat, the top of the map. Because this is not just a boat, it's a pirate ship. And every time, like, but how do I get access to the switch, right? To the little pillar? How am I going to hit it? And you have to think outside the box more often than not.
Because you need to find the angle to shoot with your bow to this like stone to shift things around. And to be fair, like I agree with you on this particular mechanic. I like the fact that like you're changing the state of like the ship. But for me, it's weaker than like Lanayru because visually you don't feel that it's changing that much. I think like the inside of the ship visually is like very stale, and it forces you like kind of to focus on like the puzzles.
It's a retread of the mining facility.
Yes,
it's the same color scheme, for example. It's bluish, and it doesn't have an identity of its own.
And so for me, when I think about the Sandship, I think about like the end sequence with the boss.
Oh yeah,
because it's a very fun one.
it's a fun one. The design is atrocious.
Yeah.
Like it's like, what is this creature? I mean, Google creature, like, oh, for the people listening to this podcast, Google Tantalus or Skyward Sword Sandship boss, and can you tell me what's the thing you have to hit?
It's like I mean, this is a Kraken
so straightforward.
thingy.
It's a Kraken thingy. It's your most basic Kraken. Like, come on.
It's like the boss fight is not very interesting. I like the escape sequence beforehand.
There's
like,
no
I think
shortage
it's fun.
of very unique creatures in the Zelda franchise. What is this thing?
But yeah, I don't know.
It's a bit goofy looking.
I think the boss should have just been the escape sequence, but longer and more cinematic, because it was really fun, like going through the boat.
It's usually when you get into the boss room, the boss fight starts. There's nothing like, and here you've got a little prologue with the escape sequence, which is really fun. I really like it.
Yeah.
And then you've got the boss fight, which is good. The boss fight,
it's okay.
I mean, the fight against the boss is really good. It's
yeah.
testing your ability to switch items, which is really good in that game. But the design is not great.
Yeah,
and it's not complicated. It's a bit long for what it is.
Exactly. It's
it goes on for a bit
it's
too
welcome
long.
like a little bit. But this is like a nice dungeon. I think it's like, for me, the problem of Sandship is like it comes after like 2 dungeons that are very, very good.
Yeah.
And it's like you can't exactly follow it up with something that is kind of like, it's not average, but it doesn't do anything like out of this world to be memorable, I think. But Sandship is a nice dungeon, and I think it's kind of like where afterwards, like you have to.
Well, you've got the Fire Sanctuary.
Fire Sanctuary is like I don't know. I don't know. And when I don't know, it means that, like, it's very average.
There's the item is very gimmicky.
Yeah.
When we said that, the good thing about this game is that the items you're going to reuse everywhere. That's not really the case with the Mogmap myths.
Yeah, so the Mogmap myths, like, they allow you to kind of like dig into the
underground,
and you go into underground section, and it's like, well,
you're creeping your way through. Basically, you're creeping your way through little.
And you have like those pseudo mini games where you need to kill things like underground, but it's the same thing every time.
Yes, but you have to activate switch. I mean, there's a mini boss, which is that.
Yeah, but it feels like, okay, it's like, oh, this is your reference to like more like 2D Zeldas, but like also.
Yes. But yeah, no, it's not particularly great.
It just doesn't work.
The dungeon in and of itself,
it's okay.
It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. It's got nice puzzles.
I think it relies a little bit too much like on the fruits. On the water fruits, it's like, you need to follow like the lava currents, and I'm like, yeah, I get it.
Which is not too surprising, considering that with the myths, like, you can't do much in terms of puzzles. Exactly. I think they kind of wrote themselves in the corner with that dungeon. Yeah, and especially you realize that, they are at the end of their tethers after so many dungeons in the 3D Zelda game. Like, they are at the end of their tethers. It's like, what can we do next?
And if you play like all the Zelda games, it's like, I think this is very interesting to talk about, is that players do have like heuristics on how to solve like Zelda puzzles. You know how it's designed. You know that it will look bad. Yes. You see like a room and you can already like guess what type of puzzle it is. We have like those games where it's kind of expected for you to have played like the original one. It's the case in like I don't know, for example, like Silksong. It's the case for Dark Souls, where you're meant to have like triumphs over the previous game and the previous difficulty to kind of like enjoy what we are proposing now, because it's harder. But it's not the case for Zelda games. So like, you as a player is growing because you get more experience with like dungeons. But the dungeons, and this is Nintendo's like, quality, let's say, is that those are games like that are meant to also be enjoyed by a lot of people. So
Everyone.
we can't
Yeah.
go like too crazy on like
Too
the difficulty
crazy,
on the
but
dungeons.
it has to be casual, public friendly. And again, we're talking about the Wii, which Nintendo really tried their best to
Yeah.
hit that casual
So
crowd.
you have like a dungeon that is again not bad, but
No.
it's also quite
No,
simple and by the book.
and you know, I think it's easy to remember every dungeon out of every 3D Zelda game. Even the
Yes.
dungeons you don't like or
Yes,
you
exactly.
don't think are particularly particular. Do you remember that one if you played Skyward Sword? Because it's another fire dungeon. So it doesn't have an identity of its own. It's just,
Yeah.
it's not the Earth Temple, it's the Fire Sanctuary. Yeah, it's about fire again.
And it feels like even less fire than the Earth Temple, to be honest, because it was a volcano, the Earth Temple, so you had more lava.
You know, it's the kind of dungeon I finished it. I was like, do we really need to go back to this formula though?
Because it's like, okay, you are leaning into the Eastern again, like aesthetics. I don't know.
Yes.
A little bit Chinese to some extent, but it's also like you did that
But
with like the ancient system. It was just better because you had like more coherence.
And it's never going into that direction as well.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a middle ground, which is not ideal, I feel. So yeah, and the boss fight is like,
oh well, it's Gurren again.
It's Gurren again, because again, you've got the Mogma Mitts, and you're like, well, I can't really fight a boss with this, can I?
And I don't mind, but it's also really the same fight. Like
yeah, but it's the same fight.
If he had like a different moveset and he was like more aggressive to kind of like showcase like the evolution, this would have been fun. But
it's more aggressive, dealing more damage. Basically, to give you an idea and a proper perspective, imagine like the first Gurren fight is easy mode. This is hard mode.
This is hard mode, but like I think you could have gone like a bit more. Lean a little bit more into it. I think they were like very conservative with like this new phase, and it's just not a very memorable like dungeon.
No dungeon boss fight because you've done it again, and then after Girahim the repeat, it's the imprisoned again. So yeah. So yeah, no, you see that the game is like taking a nosedive in terms of quality and pace here. Because it's repeating content over and over again. And I find it very funny because you start with Skyview Temple with the Beetle, which is basically opening possibilities.
Yes.
You can explore, and then here you've got the Mogma Myths, which is very restricted.
Yeah, very niche. Yeah.
So, which is kind of a fitting metaphor for the game, I feel, and the progression for the game.
Yes,
it's like, oh, sky's the limit now, no pun intended. And okay, I've got the Beetle, it's great exploring. And then you've got, the Myths.
the Myths.
Okay.
yeah. And it's like, I don't know, because there's the last dungeon, and I think it's also kind of like summing up the problem with like Fire Sanctuary and like the rest is like, okay, so the gimmick of Sky Keep is kind of like similar to what we have like in previous Zelda games. That on
it's the last dungeon, right? So what we do usually with 3D Zelda game with the last dungeon is like, it's a bit of everything.
It's a bit of everything again, and you have to move like.
Yeah, this one is a bit unique, and I really think this dungeon is a transitional one.
Yes.
We are changing the phases with Zelda and within the Zelda franchise. And I feel like this is preparing for Breath of the Wild dungeon. Because the gimmick here is basically you have to move the rooms. You're making the dungeons.
Yes. And every room is like something that it's a reference to a previous dungeon.
It's Skyview, it's Earth Temple, it's Fire Sanctuary, and then you have to connect the dots, basically. Because the rooms, they don't make sense. They don't make sense. In and of itself, you have to connect. Okay, so if I move this, I can go there, and so on and so forth.
Yes,
which is not too complicated.
No, it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty straightforward.
Once you get into the swing of things, it's not too complicated. But it makes for an interesting final dungeon. It's a bit unique, but again, it's a retread, which was never a problem before. Because it was like, oh, now I have the knowledge of this dungeon, no problem. But it's a game of retreads.
Yes.
So like, oh, it's that area again.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
if you wanted the shield, for example, the Hylian shield, which is the best shield in the game, well, you had to refight every boss. Every boss.
Yes. And
so meaning that technically you have to do the imprisoned fight. Not 4 times.
I
but
can't.
7 times.
I can't. I can't with this. I can't with this.
Just to get a shield.
And that serves no purpose, by the way. That serves no purpose.
No,
I did it because
no.
you know I.
Because we wanted to do 100% the game, so we did it.
But there is no purpose in doing that. Like you don't need the shield at this
No
moment. The
whatsoever.
game is over. So
Yeah, the game was already long enough.
it's just very long. And well, I mean, okay, Skykeep in itself, you know, it's like okay, I guess. I think it's like
The idea on paper is great for any Zelda game, and not this one.
yeah.
But I really felt like this is really like Breath of the Wild philosophy. I mean.
It is to some extent, yes.
Like the idea of, oh, you are making the dungeon. You're basically making sense of the dungeon.
Yes.
It's like the idea of the shrines, right? I feel. I was like, oh, replaying. I was like, oh, okay.
It has a little like emergent way of doing things, but yeah, I mean, and after that, it's you know pretty straightforward. There's no boss per se, because then you go into like the final boss of the game with like Gira.
Yeah, you go through the enemy gauntlet. It's Gira him again, baby. Let's go. A 3rd time.
Yeah. I mean, the fight is a bit different. The fight is a bit different because you need to push him like over the edge.
Yeah, it's punch out.
But all of that to say, those are like really good dungeons. As much as like we might seem like a bit negative in here, is like we are a bit negative because like the middle dungeons are so good, and obviously like the ending dungeons are a bit weaker compared to them. But this is like a very good set of.
It's an excellent selection of dungeons, right?
Like you will have fun doing that.
Even the people who don't like this game, the progression of this game, and the characters and the theming, well, they really like the dungeons.
Because that's basically what you remember from the game, except from like a few characters also. If you
in terms
didn't
of
like
mechanics,
them.
in terms of designs, yes, clearly.
And well, that's basically all that we have to say about dungeons, and I think it's a good transition to talk about the other thing. The
only thing we can say, I think we kind of forgot to say, it's a little thing, but again, I do feel like it's really representative of the philosophy, the motion philosophy of Skyward Sword, is the fact that the puzzle key is also a puzzle. Like usually you get the puzzle key, and then you put the key into the lock, and you go to the boss, right? Now you have to make sure the key
is correctly oriented.
The whole,
it's a sort of like assembling of like blocks, and you have to orient it the right way so it like fits into the lock.
And which is not something people remember, and not something people like about this game. And again, that's very gimmicky.
Because it's just motion control. It's like, oh, you like motion control, then you can like move your key around or whatever. So
yeah. It's just, again, like, what can we do for the puzzle, for the boss key to also become a puzzle, because it's a motion control game?
Yes.
Which, why not? But again, it's fun the first or second time, and then you're like, because it's never interesting. It's not hard. It's never interesting. And it's also like, but it has nothing to do with the dungeon.
No, completely.
Nothing to do with the dungeon. Which, again, is like, really reminiscent of what the game's philosophy.
It's just like we have ideas, just put them. Just put your idea, it's fine.
Absolutely. We've got ideas, mountain piles of ideas. Let's put them, because this is probably the last game like this.
And also because I think it was like a good way to do that with, like, as we said, like a new generation of like developers. It's like you have ideas, just put them, like, because we are very happy to have like some new blood. And this is like, you know, with all the things that we can say about like Nintendo as like an executive company, the way like the developers are working there, it's very interesting because you stay in the company like so long,
Yeah.
and you are asked as like a beginner to like give your propositions, and we will like study
Yes.
them like seriously. This is not like, oh, you have like no say as like a junior developer designer. It's like you
No,
will propose things and we will put them in the game no matter what.
if you look at the stuff for Super Mario Wonder, you're going to realize that, oh, it's basically 50-50.
Exactly.
Like you've got your old heads being there, and you've got new talents as well. It was basically like, oh, what can we do to, you know, in the case of Mario Wonder, for the whole game to rely on those two contradicting, opposing philosophies,
Yes.
and it worked well.
I
But
mean,
it's just that back in the days, I don't feel like Nintendo had this perfect way of assembling ideas together, like
yes, I
you
think
saw
so.
on the Nintendo Switch era with Pikmin 4, Mario Wonder, Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild to the Kingdom, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I think like it's a really like a method of work that really
Yeah.
got here in the Switch. And I mean, we had
It
like
panned on the Switch. It clearly panned on the Switch.
we had like interviews about it saying that like especially on Mario Wonders, people were like kind of like not asked, but like they could join like all the team voice chat with their camera on or off, and they could just either listen to the meeting or just also propose ideas, even if they were like very junior developers and stuff. But the goal here is like nowadays you really have this sense of like teaching the new generation. And I think for Zelda it was the case always, because you have like Miyamoto teaching Aonuma who was teaching Fujibayashi. And like, I mean, I don't think Aonuma will do anything else as like a main director for a Zelda game. I think his time is basically over, and now he's just like supervising things. And now we have like Fujibayashi that tried his hand, for years in different games. He had the opportunity to develop um, Tears of the Kingdom as a solo dev, no, as a solo director, and it's great. And you see this sense of like fostering the new generation, and that's why I cannot, for all the things I can say about like Skyward Sword, it's hard to be harsh against the game either, because it also brims with like a lot of creativity, even if it doesn't work necessarily. So yeah, that's like the whole thing with mechanics, dungeons, progression. And I kind of want, because like it's already, we are talking too much, but like I want to talk about like this social part, this social analysis of like this game, because it's always like a section that we love in our podcast.
And it's important. It's important because this is what makes this franchise unique also.
Yes, exactly.
So there's one thing we've been kind of avoiding up to this point addressing, and it's important, and I think this is a good like segue into it, because the final dungeon is in Skyloft.
Yes, so the beginning of the game.
The beginning of the game. And we've been alluding to Skyloft. I mean, we talked about Link waking up at the beginning, the prologue happening in Skyloft, this little community of people living in the sky. But then we've been really focusing on the ground, which is, this abandoned world being forgotten with no humans. Like, definitely a tragedy happened here, but nature found its ways. Right. Forgotten by time, but still beautiful in the way it has been forgotten. But then you've got Skyloft. Right, you've got this community up in the sky, and this is like I think when it comes to Zelda games, this is the perfect social hub, the ideal social hub.
Yes,
because contrary to any other Zelda game in the franchise, Link is here an active part of this community. Usually we often describe Link as a kind of witness. Like, the character who is witnessing the world, making sense of the world, but who is never really directly acknowledged outside of the main cast. I mean, in Ocarina of Time, this is either a random child doing random things, or an adult who is never really considered by its peers because the world has handed In Majora's Mask, this is a nobody.
You wake up and you have to leave your community, basically.
Yes.
And I mean, we talked about like the tragedy of like Ocarina of Time and Link being like forgotten by everybody when he goes back in the past, when Zelda
Yes.
sends him back in the past for him to live his childhood, but at the same time, it's like, what childhood? You lost it already through the
You lost it already.
adventure.
In the Wind Waker, you are part of the community, but you are this just weird kid, outcast.
Yes.
Basically, you're going to save your sister, and then you're leaving the community behind, and you've got your grandmother, but the rest of this small island, right, has to take care of your grandmother in your name.
Yeah.
She's not doing great, but you have to go, right. It's you have to move to become an adult. You have to leave those things behind, this small island behind, those people behind, and ultimately these people in this world mean nothing because the world of the Wind Waker is purposefully disconnected.
And I think it's like also no, go on.
Because I was going to say, once you go to, oh god, what's the name in English? Because I've never played Wind Waker in English, actually, funnily enough. I play all my games in English now, but
I mean,
back in the
you're
days
asking me like to remember names.
Mercantile. I remember the name. Mercantile.
Yeah, it's Mercantile. It's
in French.
I can't remember, but like yeah, the main
Merchant Town.
Merchant. Yeah, the main first island of the game.
Yeah, basically,
the
you
hub.
know,
This
like
is basically your hub.
yeah.
But you go here like as a weird like foreigner.
Yes.
And you never really mingle with.
Windfall Island, my god, it has nothing to do with Mercantile.
Mercantile is like
about
it's a funny
It's such a good name. Windfall Island is shit. I'm sorry, English speakers. It's shit. It's just because
it's funny because like I think I only play like Twilight Princess in French, and maybe the Zelda games. And after that,
the
it's
French
like
translation is immaculate.
yeah, but after that, like I'm
it's
really used to English names for the Zelda series.
yes.
But also like it's Skyward Sword has such a long introduction. The introduction is like 1 hour long to leave the island, do everything you need to do like on Skyloft before like going to the ground.
Yes.
And I think it's like such an interesting thing to compare to like Twilight Princess.
Yeah, because Twilight Princess, it's also long.
And you have this slice of life. It's also very slice of life.
It's very slice of lifey, because you would say, yeah, but what about Twilight Princess? You are an active part of the community. That is true. But this is a populated kingdom.
And also,
so this small community is nothing.
And you leave them. You leave
them behind again. You make the choice like because you have this sense of adventure.
Exactly. There's this sense of like it's very a Twilight. I mean, this is in the name, but a Twilight-esque game in the way that you leave your community and it's like I have things to do. I have like a mission to accomplish, and I will not be back here in a long time.
And then you get to Hyrule Castle, and then you can't speak to most people in the town.
Yeah, you're a foreigner.
You're a foreigner, right? And we've discussed this, right? It's about the dread feeling, this sense of dread about fear.
Oh, this is the xenophobia.
Xenophobia is a huge part of.
And obviously with Japan, Japanese society and xenophobia.
Japanese society, yeah,
but
definitely. Skyloft. I mean, this community is
it's your ideal community.
It's your ideal community,
and you will always go back there.
Oh yeah, you have to go back there. I mean, the fact that the last dungeon is in Skyloft is telling that it takes center stage. This community takes center stage
because it's really about.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm cooking. This is not in the. This is not in the outline of our podcast.
Pray cook.
This is okay. Skyloft is like the ideal golden age society.
Yeah.
And it's a critique of the game is a critique of like the hyper modernity of Japan and being like we should have done better to foster this like sense of community. because that was like the like our ancestors, they lived a better life. And if we had kept this sense of solidarity and not chasing money, then we would still live like in this world.
Like in this world, yes.
And I think what is very interesting is that like those are probably like the characters in terms of like personalities, in terms of like tropes, in terms of like their desires, that are the most iconic in the series, I think.
Most well realized, definitely. I mean, the fact that every member of the community has a little side quest attached to them.
And
This is a first in the series, because usually what the social quest boil down to, it's like, oh, it's a trade quest.
Yes.
They need something, you've got the right item, they get you another item in return, and then this other item is going to serve another purpose towards another person, and so on and so forth. Here they've got the little side stories.
And it's really about like fostering bonds, because everyone has their own desires and their own like things to worry about in their life. It's like Link, you're worried about like the state of the world and demise and Zelda, but like other people, they're worried for you, but they also have their life to live. And this is very good. I think one of my favorite quests is like, because this is also a choice quest. It's the one with because you begin as Link, obviously, and like, but you're still like a beginner, and you meet like this knight that is already a knight, Pipit, right? Dress in the clothes of like the hero, but in yellow, and like he is embodying like the knightly heroic aspect, what you would expect Link to be. And then he has like this very sweet storyline with, I can't remember the name, Karame, I think, the girl. And they just love each other, and then you have like a letter, right? Because you had like another. This is like a pseudo like love triangle, and somebody is like asking you either like to give a letter or not, like to the girl, and you can choose to help like Pipit in his like relationship or not. And this is just very sweet, because it's like, oh, you're part of this community. You're helping like two people in love. They're obviously in love to, tell their feelings to each other. And in such a different way from like what you see in like Majora's Mask, like the very famous like side quest in Majora's Mask. No, here you are not just a witness of this love. You are like an actor of this love. Those are literally like your friends that are kind of like proposing to each other in some ways. And it gives like such a raw quality to it. You have like this girl in the market that is in love with Link, and you're just here being like, well, you know that I love Zelda, so or that I'm friend with Zelda, so I can't do anything. You have like Groose. Oh my god, this is like such a good character.
Because this character has got an arc, right? And this is what we said at the beginning, when we said that this game has some of them at the time, obviously at the time, some of the most well realized cutscenes, because they are properly directed, and these characters have got proper arcs.
Oh my god, Groose is such a good character. Oh my god. Like to set up like just the stories for the people that don't know. So he's the goon. He's the thug of like the island.
At the beginning, the buffoon.
He's in love with Zelda, but obviously Zelda doesn't care about him, as like he's just, a thug. And he tries to bully like Link, because Zelda spends a lot of time with Link. And you have like this really like jock personality at the beginning. And then Zelda gets like, disappears, right? Sent to the ground. And Groose is like, I should do things because like this is Zelda. I'm in love with her, even if it looks like very comical at the beginning. He is in love with her, and he goes to the ground to like try to save like Zelda, but he is just not a hero. He is not a hero. and like he fails while you succeed, and after that, like he has this incredible moment of slow realization of like, I'm not the hero, and Link is, and like Link is that the person that will save us all. And this is like heartbreaking, but also I'm fine with it, because he's like spending time with like the old one, spoiler, and try to learning to be like a better person, and being like in the second, like the side lines, and just like rooting for you here, trying to do my best to help you, and so you can focus on like your quest. That's enough for me. And when the old one disappears at the end of the game, he's the only, like he falls to his knees. Like he has such an emotional moment of like the old woman that took care of me, like during like this moment of growth, just like disappeared, and like I'm left alone. And this is such a heartfelt character, and people are really going through emotions in this game, except Link and Zelda.
Except Link and Zelda, yes.
Which is the sad thing.
It's I don't mind for Link. I don't mind it too much for Link. I don't mind it too much for Link because this is part of what you expect from Link. I didn't expect otherwise. I don't mind it for Link. It's a bit disappointing considering that the way Link is framed at the beginning. Oh, we are going to see a more emotional Link. And that's not really the case.
I think it's like
once you pass the prologue.
Yeah, you think that like the prologue and like the introduction and like the rest of the game, they're kind of like separated by something. Yes. It feels like a different game to some extent.
Yeah, you see, like again, this is this mantra of we putting every ID possible, and that's something that was also applied to the narrative to a certain extent.
Yes.
And so, we wanted something a bit more lively at the beginning, which was trimmed in the remaster because there are things you can skip now. If it took an hour in the original game, it roughly takes 20 minutes. If you're skipping stuff.
You can skip stuff.
You can skip stuff, absolutely. Most of the tutorials basically, you remember at the beginning they ask you to retrieve a cat.
The cat, yes. Oh, you can skip that.
Yeah,
okay,
on the remaster you don't have to do it.
Oh, because if you do it, like it gives you some money, so it gives you like a little bit of money to.
That's right.
Yeah.
And there was no reward initially.
Oh, yeah.
Like this has become a little side quest, and most things became a little side quest in the remaster.
Yes,
which works well, I think.
I think it is because it involves you. Like you don't have to do it, but it's also like what you do as the resident of like this.
That's right. It's giving you the incentive. Again, you're part of the community. You're active, so you can decide on what you want to do and don't want to do. And it works well because it's not removing stuff.
Yes.
It's still there.
Yes.
So, but it is shorter. Yeah, it can go to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And also like dialogues, lines of dialogues being spoken a bit faster and so on and so forth, which help the game to be better paced at the beginning. Sorry.
But
yeah, no.
Yeah,
you see, like, they wanted to do something in the prologue, and that's not something it's
a bit weird, right? Like, we know that like there were a lot of women working on this game, and especially in the writing team, as I said like before.
Yes.
And we have like this interview, like in the What Asks, where some of them, I can't remember. I think like Hosaka said like. Yes. She was commenting on like Twilight Princess because she kind of like discovered the series with Twilight Princess, and she was like, "Oh, this scene where like Ilya is crying at the beginning, right?
Yes.
What are you doing, Link? Why are you not like comforting like the girl? It's literally your friend, and you're doing nothing. You're just staying there when she's crying in front of you alone, and that's basically it." And she was like, if I was the one writing the game, this would not have been the case. Like we would see like more emotions, more characters talking to each other. And I think it's the case for like most of like this game, except Link and Zelda. Link because like, again, he's going through so many different things. And Zelda because, I think it's like the worst thing about this game. It's like she is doing things, but you don't see it. You don't see the things that she is going through. It's like you finish the game and then during like the credits roll, they show you like Zelda's POV. And I was like, I remember, and I checked like the my archive, and this is literally what I'm saying, like, because I was like a bit annoyed. I was like,
Yeah.
we should have been playing that. We should have seen that like in the game and not like in the credits roll. What Zelda went through and like her side of the adventure.
It's frustrating because like, oh, but see what Zelda has been through. We're shifting the perspective, like, yeah, but it would have been very nice.
It would have been such an incredible game if you played like Zelda and
Link.
And Link, yeah.
I mean, I think considering the repetition is part of the game, and again, it's a Buddhist ideology. Clearly, that's part of the philosophy.
Yes.
Repetition. Well, that would have been nice to repeat some of the things using another character.
Yes, with a different moveset, right? Like Zelda is like...
That would have changed the way you approach the world.
Because like she's the embodiment of wisdom. That's literally the thing in the series. So
absolutely. It's like, you start Super Mario Brothers 2, you play as Mario, but then you play Luigi. It has another gameplay, so it's a bit different.
Yes.
It's the same level, but the way you approach that level is different. Right. That would have been very nice. It's not the case.
It's not the case. It's not the case. Yeah, well, but I mean, at least, yeah, the rest of the world feels like very much like alive and like...
You've got this community against the world, which is barren. Like,
yes,
basically every time you go back to Skylar, there is a sense of warmth.
There's a sense of warmth,
and especially this community moving, even without you.
Exactly, they do things.
You're not leaving it.
They do things without you, and this is part of the fun of it. And this is also tied in like the social quest that you have in this game with how is he called? Backthrow, right?
It's... we said in the... Yes, that's right. I was going to do a literary reference, which is not Japanese, not Showa, but I was basically going to say that if Spirit Tracks was just the obscure, as we compared it to be, well, this is far from the madding crowd, basically.
This is far from
this full sense of the farming community.
Like the way I did like the reference in my notes was like, it's like under the greenwood tree.
Yeah, also,
It's like you take this because we love talking about like Hardy and Zelda games. I don't know why, but like it makes sense. It makes sense. Like Hardy is like this presentation of like Wessex, which is like a fictional like Essex, and Wessex for Hardy it's cooked. It's like a land of people that are trying their best, but like the world is just against them. They're suffering. Right. They go through the worst thing possible, and this is just not fun. And the thing is, like, Under the Greenwood Tree is, I think, the only novel by like Hardy where you have this sense of like it's a happy ending, it's a happy tale to some extent,
which is not the case in Far from the Madding Crowd, because it seems idealistic at the beginning.
Yes,
it's basically if Skyloft was Far from the Madding Crowd, this is just the BBC adaptation where everything is nice. It's not like the novel.
And I think like Under the Greenwood Tree is like this very idyllic.
Yes. No, it is.
Because again, it's the same thing. It's a love triangle with.
It's a bit whimsical.
It's a bit whimsical. It's like it has this very like eerie quality and stuff. And people are just, happy to be here, just happy to be like living in their village and stuff.
Yes.
But it is also like hinting that like Wessex is kind of like difficult. Like if you go outside of the village, this will be difficult. And this is kind of like what you see in here. And I wanted to talk about Batro and the gratitude quest line. And I don't know if you want to kind of like introduce to people what like this whole quest is.
So let me just remind me a little.
So Batro is the one like is the demon, right? Like living in the
yes. Oh, so it's the that's right. Batro is the demon. So it's basically the character introducing you the Kompeito mechanic. Kompeito are Japanese candies that you usually like you share with people, right? I think that's the idea.
Yes.
And so what you will have to do is once you get introduced to Batro is this demon, like, okay, you've got this demon, very frightening looking, scary looking. Okay, this is an enemy you have to take down. And then you realize that, no, this is a really nice person. Right. So it's playing with the trope, like, looking like a demon, but an angel in the
Yeah, he just wants to live with people. He just wants to have fun with them.
live with people. And so to help him regain humanity, you will have to do social quests. Some of the quests we've already discussed, like with Beatrice, like the lady at the market, right, who's enamored by Link. And so you're going to do that, and every time you do some of the cycles, you're going to get a reward for him to finally get his humanity back, right?
Yes, and like the way it's like presented in the game is really like gratitude. It's koncha.
It's gratitude. Yes.
And
it's another form of like the trade sequence, trade quests in Zelda in Zelda
but
games.
instead
usually.
of being like kind of like random in the items that you get, no, you just help people. You get their gratitude.
You just help people, yes.
And you give this gratitude to Batro until he becomes like human, that he loses like his demon features, and then he can like live with like the community. And I think this is really like the big thing with Skyloft. It's like you see at the beginning some tropey things and people that are kind of like not antagonists entirely, but you know, you have the goons that are kind of like causing mischief in this little village. And it's about like, but that doesn't matter because we love each other. And you, Link, are helping people to get along with each other. It's like a small quest that feel like so mundane, but they inform so much about like how you live in this village, just helping people. There's this moment where, you know, you have like this guy that is very worried for his wife, girlfriend, whatever, because she left the island like on her with her bird, and she has not come back. And then you go to find her like in the sky, and she was like, oh no, sorry, I just like was, you know, my bird is like a little bit tired or something like that, and I was also appraising things, and I just didn't realize that so much time has passed. And it's just like reassuring people. You're helping people to communicate, but also in a community where everything is already fine in itself. And it just feels like a community where people want to help each other, want to live with each other. And I think that's what also you see in the end of the game, where everybody is like going to the ground. It's like, okay, so now we know that we can go to the ground, that there's no like tornadoes anymore. So let's go inhabit that world below. But it's done in such a like a quiet and like community-centered way. It's like, it's not like one person will trailblaze for the rest. It's like we will go together, explore together, be friends together on the surface, and we'll just see what happens, because we're in this like together now.
What sticks, what doesn't. It's time for us to move on also. The community is nice. Okay, the community is nice.
It will stay. It will stay. Like the community will stay.
But it's also time to go on ventures, to adventure a little bit more.
Exactly.
And to realize that, you know, but there are beautiful things to see. And it's the natural process of things or the world that, sure, some things are forgotten in time, are abandoned by time. And then, you know, but it becomes lively again.
It becomes lively, yeah. And I think like
it's the cycle of the apocalypse. Basically, it's like, there was the apocalypse, something happened, because we're going to explain that a bit later when we're going to talk about the reception of that game, critically and by the public, and commercially as well. We talked about this, but we're going to go a bit further. Is that there was a manga that was released, like a one-shot manga that was released prior to the game, and it was showing the war between the gods and the demons and the destruction of that world. Basically, the first original Link dying at the end. Sorry for spoilers, but this is the prologue of the game. And so you see that world that is completely destroyed. Then you start Skyward Sword, and that's nothing you see in the game.
Yes.
Because the world is in a natural, beautiful state. Some things have disappeared, as we mentioned with Lanayru Desert, but you've got new populations, right? So it's like the apocalypse happened, but then the people still on this planet managed to make the world a living place again.
Yes.
And this is like the natural cycle of death and life,
because it's
which gets repeated at the end.
It's such like it's such a Buddhist game. It's like,
yes. Oh yeah,
we do with what we have.
It's the most spiritual Zelda game.
Yes, because one thing that like Fuibayashi has always loved is like the sky and falling from the sky. But I think the beautiful thing, because in our Western societies, it's so easy to think about like the fallen angel. It's like also like Adam and Eve falling from the Garden of Eden, being cast out by God because of their greed.
Yeah,
and it's like,
it's a symbol of shame. It's a symbol of torture.
It's never the case for Fuibayashi.
No,
like for I really, this is really the ending of the game, but it's like the first fall is a chosen one. They decide to go and explore like the surface, because you have to interact with the world around you. You cannot stay like in the sky, and it's done in such like a positive way. Yes, it's a cycle of life and death, rebirth, revival, but it's also like something that you go through with other people. So it's not like the samsara is not necessarily a bad thing for like Fuibayashi, because it's also what makes us alive. It's just going through those things together, and you have like this very famous line of dialogue by Fai that we did not really talk about like in this game, but in this podcast.
We didn't really talk about Fai. That's true.
Maybe a bit later, but like
a bit later
in the reception also, because I think that's like what most people.
Yeah, she's tied to that. Yes.
Yeah, but you have like this. So Fai is kind of like a robot. Like she's the spirit of like the goddess sword, but she's like a robot.
It's your Navi or Midna of the game.
Yeah. And she plays really on this like, oh, I'm talking like a robot, I'm doing like calculations or whatever. And at the end of the game, she kind of like disappears. And she says, you know what, like I have started to feel things spending time with you, Link. I don't know exactly what it is, but I believe that this feeling correlates closest to what your people call happiness. And the word in Japanese for this is yorokobi. It's yorokobi, which is like the elated happiness that you feel, not like the short burst of happiness because something nice happens to you. It's like the happiness that lasts, the happiness that gives you like just an indelible joy in life. And this is like the term, for example, that you will find in like the Bible when it comes to the Japanese translation of the Bible when it comes to happiness. It's yorokobi. And I think like not a lot of people talk about that when they talk about like Skyward Sword, and this is like a little bit bothering to me, because this is really a game about, despite all the problems that we might have like mentioned before, it's a game about like happiness and gratitude, about yorokobi to koncha.
Whether it be on Skyloft or on the ground.
Exactly. It's a kindness for all the things that are around you, and the belief that like being kind to nature, to the people around you, will bring you happiness. And that's all that matters. It's such a positive game. And everything you do, every side quest that you do, is really like fueling this like appreciation for the environment and the things around you. And I think this is like an amazing touch that you will find in the Switch games also, obviously, of like, you will help people for rewards, of course, but there's also like a joy just seeing like those people happy and thanking you for being nice to them and for helping them in their small little troubles in life. And I know that like in gaming a lot of people like they hate fetch quests or things like that, and it's like I don't mind them as long as like there's a reason for you to do so. And the reason here is like you're part of this community, you love those people, just help them. That you
But
don't
yeah,
need more
you're
reason
going
than
to
that.
help them. You're an active member of the community. You're not a witness anymore. You're
Exactly.
literally a member of that community. So you need to help your peers.
And yeah, Skyloft is such like a vivid place. Everybody, everybody has their own problem, like in real life, and you're just like helping them through their small things. Sometimes it's just like helping, the children like go to bed. Sometimes it's just like repairing a little thing. It's what you would do like in a small and close knit community. And this is like something that I really, really like about this game. We talked about this in like Minish Cap, how it felt like
Yes.
very vivid with people around you. But I think this is like the level like beyond, because like you're really, really part of this community.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. You are. I mean, you are part of this community. You definitely you're making this like any other member of the community. You're not you specifically, but you're making this a possibility.
Yes. And again, like for some reason, it's not something that people remember that
We didn't
much
talk about this game.
about the
No,
game, and it's like a bit surprising to me because
yeah, because it is so prevalent. Like it's
yeah,
not something hidden. Like, can you miss Twilight Princess being about xenophobia? I think you can. I mean, if
yeah,
you just,
I guess if you're just
I
focused on
guess
the
you
adventure,
can. Can you miss the fact that Link's Awakening is about Japan? Yeah, you can definitely miss it. It's easy to miss, I would say. Can you miss some of the symbols in Majora's Mask? Yes, obviously. You can, you may. But in the case of Skyloft, it's a place you constantly have to go back to,
yes,
which is something very rare in Zelda game because we don't have a hub
yes,
usually.
and people
There's no
care
hub.
about you. They are asking like how you're
Yeah.
doing, like if you're
I
safe.
mean, you can go back to. You can play. Sorry, you can play the Wind Waker without getting back to Outlet Island
I mean,
or
this is
checking on your
kind of
grandma.
thing. Like it's like the scene with the grandma hits hard because you don't have to do it.
You don't have to do it. I mean, you have to go back to Outlet Island because there's the
Yes,
tavern you have to bomb to see the sea spirit.
yes.
But you don't have to check on your grandma.
And this
You don't have to see.
is this is such a sad scene if you
It is
check
such a
on her.
sad scene.
Yeah. But here,
It's a
yeah,
very sad game. It's a
very
game.
sad game despite all.
Which Skyward Sword isn't. It's
No,
not a sad game.
it's a game about like joy. It's really, really a game about joy, gratitude, feeling good, and feeling that you're not alone, which is like something that is always that was always a bit weird in Zelda games because Link is kind of like such a heroic character that like it isolates you from the rest of like the population, and this is really not the case here. Like people are helping you here. You become friends with them. They help you. They check on you. They give you advice and stuff, and you will like report back to them, which helps in this idea that like we are making society. Like this is the title of this like podcast. Is like in our time.
In our time.
You are not heralding the new era, the new part of like Skyloft society, of like a Skyloft history alone. This is like something that everybody will take part of.
You're making the most out of your time.
Yes.
Basically, yeah. Hence the jump, right? That you're doing throughout the game.
Yes.
Right? The fact that jumping down is clearly a mechanic, right? The fall is clearly a mechanic. Something that we're going to see in future Zelda games.
But it's a fall that like you take happily.
Yes. Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
You fall because like you know that like your bird is here to catch you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. You know that you've got someone on your back helping you.
And oh my god, this is like again So this is so pleasant to play. Just talk to those characters, feeling that they are here for you as well. We don't have like enough games, like this, where you feel you're like part of this community, that like people are thankful and worried about you. And I think this is really like the social turn of like Zelda games, because this is really something that you will see in like
See in Breath of the Wild,
exactly,
in
and
Tears of the Kingdom,
especially
even
Tears of
in
the Kingdom.
Echoes of Wisdom,
Well,
even
I've
in
not done
Echoes of
it yet,
Wisdom.
so
I know, but you are because there's something in Breath of the Wild, or Tears of the Kingdom for that matter, is that it's a sprawling world.
yes,
It's really sprawling, but you see those people like leaving their community on their own, to do a
yes,
trade, to visit other things. They're not settled in their village, right? They are. You often meet people on the roads,
yes,
like
yes.
living their life or fighting monsters. That's the thing. And this really started with the end of Skyward Sword,
Yeah,
I
completely.
feel.
And also because you have the same sense of like living after the tragedy.
Mm.
Of course,
Living after the
of
tragedy.
course, it's like informed in the Switch games by the triple catastrophe of like 2011. I mean, you cannot be more clear than like Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, the ending,
Um,
yes. Living with the tragedy and disaster. Yeah, yeah.
but the seeds were already here in
In
Skyward
Skyward
Sword,
Sword.
and because it's Fujibayashi, it's like Fujibayashi's way of like thinking the sky and thinking society, and also
Yeah.
all the the new stuff that like we are talking about people that came into the industry that their childhood was like the lost decades. Was literally lost decades mentioned, by the way.
It's,
Check your bingo and like cross that case.
it's
You
there, right? They've been through the lost
they
decades,
have
the
been
start
you
generations.
yeah you are born like in the, let's say, end of like 80s, early 90s,
Yeah.
and you go through like economic recession. You go through like a collapse of like the educational system, of the job market, and it's like, what are you looking for in your life? And the answer is like friends. I want like people that I can relate to, people that
Can
I
relate
know.
to, I can rely on.
Yes,
Yeah.
you can rely on. And this is like the theme of like Skyward Sword, and this is the theme
Yeah.
of like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
Kingdom, yes.
And for me, beyond like all the mechanical part, the dungeons that we talked about, what I remember most about like this game is like its growth, and it's like making society,
Making society,
making
yes.
a community.
And it's really interesting because once we reached Tears of the Kingdom in 2035, for this podcast.
But
We're gonna see. We'll have to compare and contrast the Sky into the Kingdom with the Sky
I
and
mean,
Skyward
it's
Sword.
kind of like already the case. We played like Tears of the Kingdom back
Yes,
then, and then we replayed like Skyward
Skyward
Sword,
Sword.
and we were like, oh yeah,
Yes,
I see
but
that like the seeds were here back then, right?
yes, but what is gonna be fun is to see that in Skyward Sword, the sky is the present of these
Yes,
characters,
exactly.
and into the Kingdom,
It's the
it's like,
past.
oh, it's a long
It's a
past,
long past.
a bygone
But you
era,
have the
which is
same
still
sense of
very
like
peaceful.
you have the same
It's
of like falling down,
yes, oh
but
yeah,
with joy. Um,
and to overcome your fears with going into underground
yes,
into the
exactly,
kingdom to
exactly.
overcome your fear.
And also, I think with like
It's a necessary passage, basically. It's a necessary passage of life.
the fact
The
that like
fall.
the ruins in the sky, they stay in the sky like at the end of
It's
like
in the sky. Yeah.
Tears of but like not, let's
Yes.
not talk about that, because this is a very
This
interesting
is
plot
no.
point, talking point for our next podcast, not the next podcast, but when we'll get into this, and I don't want to
Well,
spoil it like too early.
no, for sure. For sure.
But like speaking of like those games, I think it's like a good transition to kind of like try to conclude now this podcast and try
Yes.
to talk a little bit about the critical reception of like
It's time to
the
talk about the
game.
critical reception of Cloud Sword because when it got announced, people were disappointed by the look of the game, were disappointed by the focus of motion control, as we addressed in the technical part of the podcast, because again, motion controls akin to the Sky and to the Kingdom was a bygone era by 2011.
Yes.
People were tired of motion controls. Nintendo kind of gave up, and especially companies associated with Nintendo kind of gave up on the idea of making motion control games.
Yes.
And usually when your game featured like motion control, it was often deemed the worst part of the game. Let's think of Donkey Kong Country Returns, for example. Or other games. I don't have any other games in mind, but it was kind of the end, right, of motion control. So, but then the game releases, and the reviews are raving reviews all over the board, like 10 after 10 after 10, right? Critics loved that game. They loved it. They thought it was like, back in the days, the best Zelda game ever.
Because it was such a recapitulation, and like you have like so many references to previous games that it felt like the anniversary game, right?
It felt special to them, and it was, I mean, imagine you're a journalist, you're basically playing every game on the market, you have to, and you are informed by the last games you played. So namely all AAA Western games, very grey, very dark. And then you've got this breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
For all the reasons we've developed. And it was a bit unique again. Sure, it's more linear. Sure, it's taking advantage of what happened during that era of gaming in terms of some decisions, in terms of designs, but ultimately it remains a Nintendo game through and through. Even repetition, something that we criticized extensively in that podcast, it works, right? Because it's got a new idea, a new gimmick attached to it. So it's never like a pain to go through. And so 10, 10, 10 all over the board. That's not the case with players, and especially Zelda fans. To call it a controversial game or a point of contention in the franchise would be a bit overkill, let's be real.
Yeah.
It's a Zelda game, so people liked it overall. But it was definitely the most divisive game. And it's not like, oh, Twilight Princess get released. Oh, I think I preferred the Wind Waker. Or, the Wind Waker, oh no, I preferred the look of Ocarina of Time Majora's Mask.
Yes.
But you know, like it's not like, oh, this game is shit. Lots of people thought that. Lots of people thought it was the demise of the Zelda franchise, that it was something to avoid, that was a step too far in the wrong direction.
Yes.
So there was a clash clearly between the critics and the players, and it sold like a decent amount of copies, but it sold less than the Wind Waker on the console, which was way more popular. It sold less than Twilight Princess, or for that matter, Link's crossbow training.
This is the spin-off where you just like shoot on targets, by the way. For the people that don't know, there's nothing in here in this game.
It sold 5 million copies. It sold 5 million copies.
We played it for the Twilight Princess podcast, and it's like, yeah, let's do one run because like there's nothing in this game.
Nothing. I think we can make a forward podcast on Wii Sport. It's impossible to do so in Link's crossbow training.
Yeah, I mean,
on Link's crossbow training, but yeah, no. So there is no doubt that Nintendo was a bit disappointing in the sales figures because it took a long time to make. Like, it took 5 years. And considering the difference in artwork and the tone of the artwork with what was the end product, it was a difficult development period for Nintendo, clearly. People didn't like Fi as your partner and as your gimmick was constantly reminding you.
And I think it's still the case, right? I think
it's still the case.
They hate Fi.
I mean, again, they with the HD remaster, if you played it, you're like, well, this is clearly overblown. She's not that annoying of a character. But in the original game, she was constantly being a pace breaker.
Yeah, and I think like the difficult thing is like Navi is, okay, she has the meme of like, hey, listen, but like,
hey, listen, hey.
She was on the cute
side,
and she was on the cute side. Here, it's like she will stop you to give you hints, and also with this like robotic cadence in the dialogue, and it's like, oh, it has no soul.
It was difficult to not see it as, oh, this is the game telling you this and not a proper character. You know, it's like people really criticize Nintendo over that period for being really hand-holdy. Mine was the personification of the hand-holding of Nintendo in their mechanics. And they tried to, you know, make a more compelling character by the end of the game, but it's too late.
It's too late. Because at this point, you're just like...
It's too little too late.
You're focused on other characters, unfortunately, so...
Yeah, and again, you come after Midna. A fan favorite still to this day.
All around. I mean, this is like still one of the best, you know, companion in the entirety of
I wouldn't be surprised to learn that Midna is in the Legend of Zelda film making.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the film is going to be a patchwork of any Zelda game. Like, Link is dressed like Twilight Princess, but Zelda is Breath of the Wild, based on the picture we've got.
Yes.
So I wouldn't be surprised if Midna is in there. I can tell you, Fi won't be there.
Fi won't be there. And that's kind of the thing, right? It's like, what do you remember about Skyward Sword?
Skyward Sword.
Like,
not much.
If you're the mainstream, you know, player, it comes like in between, and especially nowadays, it comes in between Twilight Princess, who was such like a massive...
Yeah. And it had to stay on, that's what we discussed in the episode, but it had to stay on the popular image people had in their mind, like the image of what the franchise is like.
Because of like, you know, Super Smash Bros.
Absolutely. It's the only Zelda representation which lasted 2 games.
Yes.
Nowadays, the image...
because no, it's like Breath of the Wild. It's Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, it's Breath of the Wild.
But you had no representation. It was never represented like the Skyward Sword era.
No, you've got a stage in Smash 4 and it returned in Smash Ultimate, but it's a stage, right?
And it's
it's a stage. Every game has got a stage. Not every game, but you get the idea.
And what do we do then? What do we do with this game?
And the way, even with the remaster, when they announced that they were working on a remaster of Skyward Sword with Tantalus, partnering with Tantalus, they were like, oh, but for you to wait for Tears of the Kingdom, here is what we kind of used as the basis.
Yeah, this is the prototype.
The prototype, exactly. This is what... That was the game transitioning towards a new era of Zelda game. So it's basically the middle ground, which is why, really, at the end of the Fire Sanctuary dungeon, I was like, yeah, you know what? This era of Zelda game is gone.
Because it's kind of that, right? It's like...
You basically did...
You did everything.
Everything you
It is the anniversary game, but this is also like the
send-off.
This is the send-off for like this formula. It has lasted a long time.
It had. And longer than Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, because Tears of the Kingdom is also a send-off. Like, this is the end of that era.
I mean,
like they said that, oh, the next Zelda game, big Zelda game, because it has Echoes of Wisdom is, you know,
this is like your spin-off.
It's an important game, but it's your 2D Zelda game, so it's different. It's in a different category.
I am waiting for, you know, the revival, the big revival of like 2D Zelda, but like, you know, I know that like it's not the paradigm anymore, so...
No, the paradigm is clearly towards 3D.
It's 3D, it's like open world. And we know like that the next Zelda will be open world because it's, you know, part of like what they want to explore, but it will be different. It will still be different.
It will be different, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, again, the fact that the people are leaving Skyloft to discover the world by the end of the game, again, this is a message that we're leaving things behind.
And it's okay. I think it's like
all right.
What like a lot of people do not understand when you have like every time, you know, when, and especially with the Switch games, and I'm not saying that people are wrong, but like you have this like, oh, we have like strayed so far from the formula. This is not what Zelda is. And this is like, again, the question of the podcast. What makes a Zelda game a Zelda game? And I think like the answer was very not fixed, but like you could feel like that they had like a singular answer until Skyward Sword, and then it's like it doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't work
Yes.
anymore because we have new people, because we want to do new things. And what makes Zelda a Zelda game is to have Zelda. You need Zelda, you need Link. The rest, it doesn't
You need
matter.
characters. Then it's the essence, the theming, the idea that it's the fact that you've got Link, you've got Zelda, and you've got some staples as well. You don't even need Hyrule. That's the thing. You don't
No,
even need
because
Hyrule.
it's always, when you check like the theming of those games, it's just like we learn to live.
Yeah.
We learn to live again. I mean, and let's say, because the first games, they're not like narrative heavy, but let's say Link's Awakening, you wake up and you had this dream, and then what am I doing with that? How am I dealing with my life, having learned about the life of those people? Ocarina of Time.
As long as you've got, yeah.
No, go on. Sorry.
I was going to say, as long as you've got Link or a Zelda-like figure, well, that will be, and you want to convey a message.
Yes, that's
about you, about
the
the adult
world.
life, about the world in general. That would be what a Zelda game is in essence.
Like Ocarina of Time, it's really about like growing up and also living in a world that has forgotten you. Termina, it's like not so much for Link, but it's Majora's Mask is, but like for Skull Kid, it's like how do you learn, to be loved again? Wind Waker is like facing the past and like heralding a new era,
coveting that wind,
but like the wind just like fizzled, and it's just the breeze that is going through the world. Twilight Princess is like, and now after the twilight, the sun is rising again, and
overcoming your fear, communicating with people,
trying to learn about people, trying to break that like xenophobia that is like
embracing what is foreign.
Exactly. And you have like Skyward Sword, who is like, and now we explore like beyond, and now we try to make the world bright again, and to still like live as a community. And this is what you find in like also the Switch games, where it's really like about, and after the apocalypse, how do we live? How do we let nature bloom again, and how are we living among it? And I think it's really what is making a Zelda game a Zelda game. And Skyward Sword is just here to say those messages, they will always be here. Like no matter what happens, we will still talk about like society. If you think that like Zelda games are not about society, just watch the news, please. Watch the news. If you believe that like that like Tears of the Kingdom is not about society, are you crazy? Have you seen like news back in like 2011?
No,
it's literally what people went through, and this resilience about like making a new society. And as much as it feels like a very pointed thing to say, it's like, don't assume that like a non-Western game, don't assume that they cannot talk about society. It's just that you don't know this society enough to feel that they have like underlying issues that they are trying to resolve. Obviously, like Fukushima and like the triple catastrophe is like the key example of that. But we are talking about the lost decades. We are talking about like problems in education, in the job markets. We are talking about pollution. We are talking about like the aging of the population, and those things, they are like they inform the way games are shaped, and the story that they want to present to everybody. And I think that like a very important part of what people have like, I mean, this is a game that came during like the early period of like the Abe years, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're at you don't have the influence of like the triple catastrophe because like it was like it released like very shortly after.
Yeah, no, that's impossible in terms of development time.
But you have this idea of like this chaotic Japan where you have lost hope in some ways. And
you're not looking forward to the future.
Yeah. And then that's why we're making a game about looking forward to that, about like what can we do to create like a society where it's possible.
Absolutely.
And the answer is obviously like community, because you cannot rely on other people than like your friends, the people around you. And like I'm not saying that just because it's like Skyward Sword, it's like what you find in like most of like Japanese fiction of like that period.
True.
To be honest.
Oh yeah, no. Zelda games do not happen in a vacuum.
Exactly.
They answer, I mean, they are part of a mold in literature, cinema, television production, mangas, animes, and other games. Well, so when you are talking about a game from 2011, you're talking about a game from 2006, you're talking about a game from 1998, and so on and so forth. Well, you have to take into consideration the
context.
Social context, right? The social context the games were made in.
And it makes things like very clear, especially for this franchise, because it is always linked to issues in the real world, far more so than like other Nintendo games. But like every game, every piece of fiction will be informed by its context, but like Zelda games especially, yes. And
considering the premise of the franchise, considering the premise of every episode, considering the writing of Link as a character.
Exactly. I mean, he is literally named Link, by the way. It's
Link,
like we have seen that like in interviews. We know that like Link is a bridge between people, between worlds, and that's the point.
Documented.
Exactly.
It's been well documented. Yes.
And obviously, like we are not expecting, and I think it's like you shouldn't like have to know all those things when you're playing those games. Like
to enjoy those games, no, absolutely not.
But
that's the quality of these games. But if you want to go deeper, to have a better understanding,
you need to check like the context. You need to check also the narrative, because
the themings and the people who made this game.
Exactly.
Also.
Like I'm not tired because like it feels like I'm ranting, but like
No, it's not a rant.
It's not a rant. It's just like on this question of like what makes a Zelda game, the answer is never the gameplay. The answer is never the gameplay. Because if you have played all those games, you know that the gameplay is different every time. This is not the same game. If you think this is but if you think this is the same game, you are delusional.
Link's Awakening and Skyward Sword are so different in tones, in the way we consider dungeons, in the way the progression is considered, in the narratives.
Yes.
You've got common elements. Obviously, this is what the franchise is about, right? I mean, this is what makes a franchise in the first place. But it is so vastly different. Zelda is constantly making an effort to look different, sound different, play different than any other gaming franchise or other whatever the media franchise really in the world. I feel
it's like I know that like a lot. We talk about that like in the next the episode like for it, but like a lot of people were like Tears of the Kingdom is like the easiest like sequel you can do. Like it's like. It's really not. It's really not.
Have you played Tears of the Kingdom?
Have you played it entirely? Like it's
you can't criticize Tears of the Kingdom and at the same time celebrate A Link Between Worlds, which is the next episode.
Exactly.
But again, it's been a long time for Link Between Worlds, and we'll see. But to get back to the main question, I feel outside of what makes Zelda game a Zelda game, can we go back to this formula? Can we ever go back to this formula?
I'm not against, seeing a tentative to do so, but also like I don't miss it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, yes, we can. You never know what what the future may hold. Maybe they want to have another swing at this formula. Maybe they want to have a game like Twilight Princess, for example, which is, a bit safe, testing new things.
But I wouldn't
right?
mind, it has been a long time.
But you wouldn't mind. Yeah, it wouldn't mind. But the thing is there a point to it? If there is a point to it, I will welcome it. I would welcome it. But if there is none, well, why bother?
Yeah, I mean...
Because this is like the perfection of that formula with Skyward Sword. Not in the sense that the game is perfect, but in the sense that, yeah, we've done everything possible at the time.
And also, let's be real.
Yeah.
Slash Gen. The people complaining about this is are you even sure you have played all the Zelda games? It's so... I mean...
And
you have seen how many people bought the Switch games, right?
Absolutely.
It's
how many among these players were new players?
Have you played all the Zelda games to be able to... Because if you have not, just go play old games and you will have your feel about old dungeons.
I make always a commitment, let's say. I make a commitment to always start this podcast with one question. How do you get access to this game legally? I mean, of course, if Skyward Sword being on the Wii, that's not that difficult to emulate. To be fair, this game is a bit more difficult to emulate than any other Zelda game, but it's possible if you got.
It's possible.
Tools, right?
You need hardware.
It's not that complicated. But with the Switch 2, this question is going to become less and less relevant because every Zelda game will be on the Switch 2.
Well,
there's Wind Waker now. True, but everyone is going to get the Switch 2.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen this? Have you seen
on the long
data?
term? On the long term, yes.
On the long term, I mean, it's as long as you've got the replacement for the Switch, the new Nintendo console, well, you can play Zelda 1, you can play Zelda 2, you can play the Link's Awakening remake, and the Game Boy remake, and the DX the DX version for the Game Boy Color. You can play A Link to the Past. You can play the two Oracle games. You can play Ocarina of Time. You can play Majora's Mask. You can play the Wind Waker now. You can play Minish Cap. You will be able to play in the very near future Twilight Princess. The only thing that remains, you can play Skyward Sword HD. You've got the Switch 2 versions for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. You've got the Our Warriors Legends port, which is miles better than this Wii U version. The only question that remains is the 3DS version and the 3DS games and the DS games.
Yeah.
But apparently, I mean, according to rumors,
emulation will come for that soon. So
we'll get a DS version, and we see that Nintendo is starting to remake or remaster some of the 3DS games, like Luigi's mentioned too.
I'm here. I want, and on this stream, I want to let's acknowledge that my loyal partner is a Nintendo shield, and this is his opinion on things.
No, but it's real. That's what they're gonna do. I mean, you can play every game. My question is, do you have to get back to this formula?
My take is you have so many games you can play. You don't need more of them. I want Zelda games to be something new, to be something exciting that is pushing things forward. I mean, we know how Zelda games were always forward pushing most of the time. I want to see that again and again. We know how Breath of the Wild changed the entire landscape of video games.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm waiting for the next game that will be
absolutely. I want Zelda to push the media forward as well. And this is what makes this franchise special. And I'm not a Nintendo shill. I'm just saying that there is one company, as evil as it is, that's making a bit more effort to make their games more accessible than, let's say, Sony.
I leave the viewers where you can make your opinions, but I'm not commenting. Sure. I'm not commenting on the.
I hope you like playing Ape Escape 3 on your PS5, guys. Oh wait.
What game on your PS5? I can't take positions on that.
But that's a fact. They are making their games accessible. You can play the Wind Waker. When we recorded the Wind Waker, we're like, oh, It's lost.
It's lost. Wait, you
It's
play?
lost on the Wii U.
Yeah, true. False
I
dichotomy.
mean, and Twilight Princess, like not too long ago, we're like, it's difficult to get access to it now, right? Unless you use Dolphin, obviously. But it's coming to the
No,
Nintendo
yeah,
GameCube emulation for sure, right?
I mean, that is kind of like the point of the thing. It's like you have like so many Zelda games to play. Just play them again, and let's explore the future. That's like literally the lesson of like Skyward Sword. Um,
Yes,
and
and considering that we've answered the question of what makes a Zelda game properly this time, actually,
true.
it was. I think we should end the podcast on Skyward Sword. This is the end, guys. Actually, no
This is not
further
the end.
episodes.
This is not the end at all. We have like so much work to do. This is like Miyabi is overworked as always.
We've never been closer to us replaying Breath of the Wild, and that rattles me.
I don't know if I want to do that. I'm not ready. It has been like so long. Oh wait, and I've told that like to people and to you. Obviously, I've never finished Breath of the Wild. I've done almost like everything, and I was like, I don't want to finish this game, so I never did. I know what the ending is. I've seen that like on YouTube like so many times. I just never did it myself. And speaking of games that I've not played,
I 100%. I 100%ed Breath of the Wild. I'm not counting the Korok seeds because I've got a life. I shower every day, so no, that I'm not counting. But I did every side quest. Let's just say. So I consider I've 100%ed Breath of the Wild, Enter the Kingdom.
Okay, so speaking of games that like I've never played.
You've never played?
I've never played A Link Between Worlds.
You never did.
She never did
because what a fake fan.
Because she thought it was cooked. She thought like people said it was cooked, and I was like, so I'm not playing this if it's cooked.
Okay.
And I was very astonished when you told me that no, people actually love that game.
People love that game. I mean, this is one of the most well-reviewed game from critics and players alike. Like, people love that game. And here's my side of the story. I have never understood why.
Okay, but maybe this is because of you. Maybe this is because of you that like I think this game is
because
cooked.
of me, because I'm like, here's my take, okay? Because people are like giving it 9 10s, like saying that, oh, this is the Zelda game I wanted to play all along. I was like, yeah, this is New Super Mario Bros. But Zelda.
I mean, that's kind of like the question, like we
and that's going to be very interesting to revisit it because it's revisiting an era of Nintendo I don't like.
Okay, so that's kind of like the transition for the final, usual question on this podcast is like, what are you expecting of this game? Replaying it.
Okay. Absolutely nothing. Because I remember this game super well for some reason. I mean, I've got a good memory when it comes to fiction in general.
Yeah.
I rarely forget things. Very rarely. So I remember that game. I remember the dungeons. I remember everything to be perfectly adequate, to be perfectly fine. It's a nice game. It's well made. But it's so soulsless.
Okay, so I don't like doing this. I don't care about like scores, but I think they are funny to kind of like get like a rough opinion on things. We have given like you and me, we have given like Skyward Sword 3.5 out of 5.
Yes,
3.5 stars.
Yes.
What is your expected score replaying
for A Link Between Worlds?
A Link Between Worlds.
Okay. So based on my memory alone, based on my past experience, 2.5.
2.5.
But it's not like the 2.5 of the Adventure of Link Zelda 2, like, oh, you tried. It's not pleasant, but you know what? You tried. Like, it's a nice middle ground. I don't like it, but I respect it. It's like, yeah, okay, it's boring.
It's like, okay,
it's
but
well
why?
Made, but boring. Yeah, and it's Nintendo, like Yoshi's New Island, New Super Mario Bros. 2. It's that era of Nintendo games I really didn't like. I mean, when people say they missed the 3DS and the Wii U, no, you don't.
It's just because it was the console you had like as a teenager.
Yeah,
It's like-
absolutely. Oh wow, you sure miss Pokemon X and Y.
If
Oh,
we
you
talk
miss
about if
you
we
miss
talk about
you
Pokemon
miss
in
Fire
this,
Emblem
like
Awakening. You miss Fire Emblem Awakening.
I am not.
I mean,
I'm
it's a
not
game I
commenting.
like.
I am not commenting on
It's
that.
but you've got 3 houses.
I mean, it's like an interesting. It will be an interesting thing because we'll explore like the history of like 3DS game at the same time in this podcast. So, yeah, I mean,
It's
as for me, like I've never played a game, so I'm just I try to not have any expectations
See,
because like it will be
it's
the first time.
it's so funny because I tend to sell my consoles because I don't see the point of keeping them with emulation. But I don't like playing a 3DS game on my computer. I don't think it's
Yeah,
super
yeah,
pleasant.
yeah. I get.
So, I mean, the excitement of playing A Link Between Worlds is that once I'm done, I
You
can
could
finally
your-
sell my 3DS.
It's crazy work. It's absolutely crazy work. I don't know what to say. I'm baffled.
Wow, you really missed the worst version of Majora's Mask, people? Wow.
That's how BertKnot is balancing his like Nintendo shilling. I mean,
How can I Nintendo shell right now?
this is so
I'm not
funny.
Nintendo shilling. I'm criticizing the 3DS and
No,
the
I
Wii
know,
U.
I know, I
Wow.
know. I mean, we are very particular here because we are like, yeah, the 3DS and like GameCube, it was not that good. It was just not that good.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, GameCube kids. I'm sorry. I don't miss Super Mario Strikers. I'm really sorry. I miss Metroid Prime, that's for sure. I miss the Wind Waker. Yeah, I miss the first 2 years
Yeah,
of the
exactly,
GameCube.
exactly. Okay, but I think that's basically it. We have like, yeah, for too long. It has been like 3 hours and a half. So kind of like, in the middle, in the average
Yeah.
for like the Zelda podcast.
That's right.
So
I expect Link Between Worlds to be 10 minutes.
no, yeah. I mean, at the very least, it will be like 2 hours.
No.
It will probably be if we do the history of like, 3DS at the same time.
It's not on Link Between Worlds. It's on how shitty Nintendo was.
3DS was. Oh my god. I mean, this is a very interesting era, like because for me, I've never, played. I don't think I got my 3DS worth it, but
Sorry, guys, you wanted a podcast on Link Between Worlds. This is Mario Kart 7.
this is Mario Kart 7. I'm capable of doing like a 10-minute stream. This is true. Like we need to yap for too long, and especially if like you're here, but not like we can yap for
That's true. That's true.
the end until the end of the world. But that's basically it for today.
It
It
is.
was kind of like a first test. We
That's
might do more things like this, more yapping
Maybe.
like this.
Maybe.
When you'll be like less busy with your
With-
busy life.
with my job. That's right.
Imagine
with my
having
job.
a job. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, but like you're as overworked as I am, so I understand. So thank you for watching this. I don't think I will do
No.
any editing on
Pleasure's all mine.
YouTube. It will be just like this. Get a better but I mean, we did that literally like we did that 10 minutes before stream. So next time BertKnot will have like an animated reactive, profile picture, whatever.
I don't know if I'm ready to become a VTuber.
You will
myself.
become a VTuber, by the way.
That-
Give him a Nintendo hat and shirt. Yeah. The true shilling, by the way.
Just with the icon for the Nintendo Switch too, and that's it.
The VTuber pipeline. Okay. So thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you. Pleasure is all
It
mine.
was a pleasure to have you today. No time frame for the next podcast. We are overworked here. So
Okay, I can say a thing for certain. It won't be in 2025.
there's no shot it will be in 20. If it's in 2026, consider yourself lucky.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, no, we should try to do at least, by this summer, the end of the summer next year, something like that. But we are very busy.
Yeah, we are.
2013. Hopefully not, but like, I mean, I want to. I think it's easier to do it that way on stream. Like,
yeah, it's easier. No, for sure.
I have time to play all the games so I can understand what this podcast is about. I mean, just play like Link Between Worlds like in the next 6 months, so you can understand the next podcast. I mean, I'll try if people are interested in doing that, like replaying those games. We can give like the time frame, but
or play A Link to the Past and imagine it if it had no sauce.
no sauce. I mean, this is the thing also, is because we're not putting any footage on like this podcast. It's very like abstract, but I'm too lazy, to prep like all the footage. I have other things to do in my life. But yeah, if you're interested in playing the games, we can aim for like something in the summer, whatever. So we leave like 6 months to people to play the games, and it leaves us also 6 months to play it and plan the podcast, something like that.
Right.
Okay. Anyway, it's late. We need to go do things. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
See you.
Thank you very much.
I'll see you next week for streams. I don't know what exactly. This has not been planned. Do a stream of the game and leave it as B-roll. I mean, I could do that. I mean, I recorded the stream. I mean, I recorded my playthrough. I could have sent it like in the background, but I was too lazy, I guess, to set up that today because it's on YouTube. But I did not download the videos back. Anyway, thank you very much for being here. See you Wednesday, probably. Thank you, BertKnot, and
thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.